we're gonna start now. It is 8:05 p.m. Sorry, just give me a second. It's 8:05 p.m. on Tuesday, the 26th, of the ARB. We're gonna start with ARB number 3 of 2019 with Darien Parks and Recreation. The address is 139 Pear Tree Point Road. It's the replacement security gate. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So do me a favor, introduce yourself, say who you are and how you represent the property and what you'd like to do.
I am Pamela Geary, and I am the Director of Parks and Recreation here in Darien. And I am looking to replace the current security guard hut that has been there for well over 20 years. And it is rusting, and we've had to fix the floor, we've had to make numerous maintenance jobs to it in order to even keep it up and running. And this is the year.
This is the year. Okay, great. One second here. Okay, do you want to tell us what some of your changes are?
Sure.
What you're
So the
doing?
current building that's out there is, if you have not seen it, but there are pictures in your packet, and it is a metal building that probably has done its job for quite a long time. But because this particular facility is in the flood zone, it has weathered, and it's rusting, and it's sharp, and as I mentioned, the floor has given out, and we've had to have our men repair it, and it, quite honestly, looks pretty hideous as well. And so we had gotten a capital improvement project that was approved in 2017-18, and when I went to try and get that project in, we came to the building department and we realized we needed it to be ADA, and so it kind of halted the project. We got too close to summer, and so here I am now this year, taking a different approach. Decided that it would be best, not only to save some money for the town, to look at a wood structure. And we went to Small Carefree Building in Colchester, and they can build a small 6x9, which is the same size as the current one, for a lot less money. We do have to, it is the shell, we still have to have electric put in, and we have to have internet and computer, and, but it can be built within 4 to 6 weeks, and we are proposing that it be a temporary building as opposed to the permanent one that is there now. That way it won't be sitting in the flood zone 12 months out of the year. It will only be from May to September.
Where does it go?
We're going to most likely, we haven't completely figured that out, but I think we're probably going to bring it to Wheat Beach, where our short lane property is. It's dry, and we won't be sitting there in the flood zone.
So if it's movable, I mean, the rendering shows it with a stone base that, presumably it'll be on piers and
Is
be,
it?
be able to be lifted in some way.
Well, there's rail, it's a rail? Underneath there is 4x4s, so that it's lifted, you can put the forklift right underneath it and move it. So it won't be sitting flush on a cement pad.
Can I ask you about your timing for the proposed renovations of the beach? Where does this fit into that? Because when I saw it, I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if this could tie in to what you're doing with the rest of the buildings at the beach, and maybe your architect might have some input to it also.
Could still do it as a wood structure too. I mean, if that was the previous proposal for something besides a wood structure, you had mentioned the cost.
Yes, the previous proposal, we did an RFP for the same type of material that was out there at Wheat Beach and what's currently there now, but it came in extremely expensive, over budget, and we found out we needed the ADA accessible ramp on it. So with this one, we took a different look at it, and we did have the question about the Pear Tree project and whether the architect should be put within that proposal. But because it's so dilapidated right now, and we've been refixing, and we felt that since it was immovable, it would be a temporary facility, that we could all, if it turns out that in 2 years, that it's not something, or within the year when we're working with this, that it's not something that we feel is complementary to the new facility, Lee Beach has to be replaced as well. So we can replace this one with that one if we have to, was one of the,
You
one of
mean
the
the
options.
security hub? or-
So if this is sort of a prefab, is that what I understand?
Yeah,
In
that's
Construction,
true,
we
this,
really don't have a lot of leeway in terms of our aesthetic comments. I mean, this is sort of what you're ordering. Or
Right,
am I
it's not built
understand
yet,
this?
but yes, so I mean, I know that it's gonna be a white trim, I know that we're gonna pick a very common, nice, like grayish color that we have that matches all of the facility that's there now, with the black, roof. And, we'd like to have a cupola on top. We think we'll give it a nice little flare down there. And as you can see, we have slider windows and the door in the back. It's, you know, in my opinion, it looks a lot beachier and nice than what we have out there right now.
Yeah, I really question even the need for a stone base if
Yeah.
it's,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going for beachy and
Well, it's not it's not a real stone either.
even more so.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not. Although I have to tell you that Norwalk has the same building at their beach,
Yeah.
and you don't like it.
No, I don't.
Really?
I think it, yeah. I think
Huh,
that's
we-
Norwalk.
Yeah, no, we really like it.
Well, that hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm just Norwalk is Norwalk.
Oh, you sold the building
Yes.
at Norwalk?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I never closely looked at it. Yeah, I'm looking at, also Rita, who couldn't be here tonight, had some comments as well.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, because
Yeah.
she was talking about extending
Extending
eaves
the
and
eaves, yeah.
doing all kinds of things. It doesn't sound like that's,
Yeah, how much modification are you capable with this company? I checked out the website and they said they can do some customization.
okay.
It's just to what extent can that be done? And is this even something that could be handed to the architect and say, okay, you have this basic building, which I can appreciate the cost effectiveness and the actual mobility of it, but can it be kind of taken in and integrated a little bit more with the aesthetic that's trying to be achieved with the, you know, the plan for the other buildings? And therefore, maybe it doesn't become, I mean, it could be a temporary structure that's movable, but it doesn't have to be just a 2-year structure. I mean, the one that's there now has been there for 20 years, and maybe that was intended to only be there for a couple of years too, because these things happen.
Yeah.
So why not put a little bit extra effort into it and really, I think aesthetically, pull it up a notch.
I agree with that.
So do you have that, do you have that flexibility with?
I do have some flexibility because we're saving so much money on this as it is. We are.
So, I mean, sorry, the prefab, is it just a model or, you know, a set structure? Or can you do some adjustments as far as
We'll do
like
some
the
adjustments.
eaves?
The outside,
We could do some
material
adjustments.
stuff, so.
I mean, we could have real stone put on it,
I
but
would even
I
question,
don't-
like I said, I would even question the need
Even-
for.
even having it.
I mean, it could be,
personally, I just,
Could be an
we all like it
alternate-
in our office a lot. So.
Like,
We like the look of the round stone that we put in here on the bottom half of it. And, you know, throughout the office, just everyone really,
In terms of
Like to-
timing though, with the renovations that are occurring at the beach, you're close to choosing an architect, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, we're going through the contract with them now.
So maybe the timing, could you have modifications done by that architect to the prefab
That's there
building you're
now?
looking at?
no,
Yes.
this, yeah.
this
No,
one
this one.
Yeah,
The
Did you
new
hold
one.
off a bit? Okay.
Well, if, this is so time sensitive right now, that if through the approval process that I have to go through, that if there's a hiccup, even tomorrow with the snow and it's canceled, most likely this won't even
It's out of the budget.
It is like time sensitive. I have
It
to
is.
have this building built and delivered
But-
to Pear Tree by May 1st.
You could have a shell and then you could have this 8x9 structure, 6x9
Yep.
structure. Just kind of unfinished, and the architect could maybe coordinate what materials he's choosing to put on the,
On the outside of it?
Mhm.
That's
If
all,
that's, yeah, if it's possible.
it's possible, but I also think the idea of, that's not gonna happen for a whole nother year, if that.
that's what
So
I'm getting
not
at,
only
the
that,
timing, yeah.
Coming fall,
Mm-hmm.
if everything is aligned and the architect finishes his job, we're hopefully be ready for budget season to give the town a budget number for an actual, for the project. So what is that? Is it 1.5 million? Is it 2? I don't know. We're waiting for the architect to do his job.
Mm.
And with that, will the town then put it through?
This is the company.
Sorry, so
It's the website of the company.
your timing, is this somehow tied to your, the funds that you're getting for the capital improvement project? or-
I have the funds.
Okay, but you
No,
don't
for
lose those?
this.
If you
No, I don't lose it. I don't lose it. I mean,
It's
they want me
prefab
to
structure.
get going
No, it's-
because it's been
Sure.
sitting
That's
for a
what it
year.
is.
But the time sensitivity is the fact that we open the beach
In May, yeah,
come Memorial Day.
of course, of course.
And so by Memorial Day, so we're obviously hesitant, we don't wanna pull away the other building, obviously, because we need to have some sort of building for the security guard to check
Mhm.
people in.
Yeah.
So it comes down to the fact, do we want to,
Does this company install as well, or is it, that they just deliver and
That's the
there's a
company that's
contractor
making
that
the
installs it?
cottage.
well, we'll have a concrete pad done prior to that. And then they come and place it on there, and then we have the electrician come in, we'll have, whoever else we need to come in to help with the wires, the telephone company, and secure the
So
building.
you're talking at least a week before,
I need May 1st. That's what
well,
I'm
that's,
looking for.
that's what it needs to be.
Because
done.
May 25th is when we really open.
So that's when it needs to be, okay.
Yeah, I gotta have some time to,
And the one part I missed was like, and this is, you're proposing as a 2-year structure? right
no,
now?
no.
No, something that it will last.
Oh, this will last, and
Okay,
especially if
you'll
we keep it out of the flood zone,
Okay.
to think that, right,
Yeah,
this
okay.
absolutely should last.
So
Think
that-
about a shed in your backyard, I mean, it's not
So
gonna,
if that is the case, and you have some flexibility, I think maybe we can work within what they're proposing and give some of the comments we had talked about, starting with, this,
Rita had some very, I thought some
Starting with
really
the E,
well
yeah.
thought out.
Yeah.
So it's a very, visually, central visual when you come into the
Mhm,
beach, so
yeah.
we don't wanna really rush through this, but, just a couple more details about the ADA part of this. So how high off the ground is this gonna be, do you know? And I assume the ramp is just gonna go straight up to the front door?
in order to have the temporary, facility like this, we are able to have a, removable ramp. So the only reason we need a ramp is if we were to hire somebody that needed to use the ramp.
So it's
But
not
if we
permanent,
keep
right?
it as a permanent facility like it is today, then we have to have a wraparound ramp. That's
Wow.
installed and it's just, it just becomes another,
You don't really
You
have
say
the room
headache.
for that.
and not only that, it's, I think it would be nice to show that the guardhouse is back, summer's starting, and then, we remove it at the end of the season to preserve it a little bit more,
And you're sure the interior dimensions meet ADA as well? I know you're obviously gonna have a ramp, but I mean, there's,
Yes, the turnaround. Yeah, the building knows all about that. And I have to go to the building department, and I've already spoke to Pete about that as well. So I still have other steps after here.
This doesn't have running water or bathroom facilities or any of
No.
that, no, it's just, okay.
No, it's
Just
literally to
computer.
house one guard
Yeah.
that sits in a chair that has a computer and a phone and a window,
Right,
and he
okay.
greets and checks
And air
and
conditioner.
passes. An air
And
conditioner.
air conditioning.
you'd be so mean about dogs. I'm kidding.
Depends on which one you
Yes,
have.
I know. Okay.
So then I take it as you drive in, so the view entering the beach, so you come in and the 5x3 window is where you drive up to, and that's, I guess, a slider? or
Yes, it's a
something?
slider. It's definitely different than what we have today,
I think one of the comments that Rita had, and I think the rendering is, it looks very flat, and I think that's something that, oops, face ID.
Well, I think you kind of mentioned this too, you're aware, I think maybe Dave maybe led you on to this about the eaves. extending the eaves a bit to give it some more dimension.
Yeah.
If
Right.
that could be done, I have
Also,
no
you
problem
know,
with that.
set the windows back a little, you know, it's, again, it's hard to tell from this rendering how the windows are set in, or it just looks very flat, and it could be a result of the rendering.
Well, I know that originally I was gonna propose an 8x10, like the one at Wheat Beach, but I honestly didn't wanna get into that because I was fearful that perhaps there's not a lot of room there. So it was best just to replace the same structure as we had, and, I think we are limited, especially with the windows, because of the size of the 6x9. I had to get the air conditioner up high there, as you see on the view of the side exiting the beach.
Yeah.
And then we have the door in the back that would have, you know, the ramp that would, again, this is just a digital drawing he did pretty quickly, so. But in terms of the eaves, I'm not certain, I have to talk to him, but I certainly could suggest that with any other suggestions that you may have.
You know, just like an extra 6 inches or so would
On
make a
the
big
eaves.
difference.
Mhm.
Okay.
And again, I'm just gonna go back and just say that I know everybody liked the stone base, but I think if you do bring the siding down and do a nice water table, like a nice thick white trim with a cap on it, it gives it a really, I think that for the size of it, the stone base is just like one more element that it doesn't really need. I think just a simple,
So you're saying just a piece of trim?
Yeah,
That's
just-
fine. Your-
yeah,
your
just,
regular trim.
yeah, just bring the siding down and then you have what's called a water table, which has a drip cap and a board underneath it, so you have your siding coming down.
What dimension would you
This
suggest?
could be like a 1x8 on the bottom and a cap, you know, just the whole thing
Mhm.
about that big,
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
nice.
So,
What do you think about
Yeah.
that?
I mean, that's my opinion.
I
on,
have no problem with that
You know, just,
at all.
you know, the
Quite
way
honestly,
that-
it would be easier
well,
for
it
the
probably
company to
be
do it that way.
less money too than doing a fake stone base.
Mhm.
I like that.
I just wanna replace it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, right,
Could've
no.
done-
Here you show it with shutters, but,
Yeah, that rendering, I don't think
It
that's.
doesn't
No,
look
that's,
like
not
it's
consistent
not, I
with
just
that.
wanted to give you a feeling for.
so no shutters,
No,
no.
it's not a
shutters.
6x9, that's actually the 8x10.
Okay.
So again, it's just showing you
Okay.
the rafters, the thickness of them.
No, that's good, I think, yeah.
Actually
Pressure
have the,
treated floor, pressure treated
What do we
joists,
think
pressure
about
treated.
the
yes,
Yeah,
and they-
it's all.
there's
according to
4x4
this.
runner is what I was trying to say before,
Yeah,
not the railing,
foundation
it's a
runner.
runner. That's the
So how are you
space.
gonna anchor it to the pavement?
So there's a pad, right?
Right, it's a cement pad.
It's probably gonna be anchor bolts of some sort that got
They
something.
form the pad underneath first?
Yes.
A raised
Otherwise it'll
pad.
float
Yes.
away.
Yeah,
Do you have any comments about the cupola?
I think it's a little tall, or I'm not even sure it's needed.
I think Rita's comment was that she was concerned about the proportion of the cupola to the building.
Mhm.
That's kinda what I'm thinking too, but this is a rendering, so it should be smaller.
It looks like it should be smaller.
yeah.
Do you have the dimensions on that?
Yeah, she said it doesn't see, yeah, the proportion seems a
Yeah,
little
they have it.
off.
Dimensions, it just has the. Alright.
So is there some kind of formula we can put on it? So we can,
That
I'm not
might
very
be like
concerned
a,
with the cupola, if you guys won't like the cupola, that could go.
It's a nice.
20, it's
Sure,
20
yeah.
inch, 20-inch window cupola, I
Yeah,
assume
this
that's
was
20-inch
20
square.
20 square. I mean, shown as square, Rita said round, but I think that was,
Well, I'm wondering if it'll look different once the stone base is removed, and maybe that will change the upper
I think the
perspective.
building's too small. I mean, think of it as a 8x10 shed, it's not even that big.
Since you even have a
6x9,
6x9.
I know, but that's, I mean, even an 8x10 shed is,
too
Not
small
real big.
for a cupola? It's just too
what's the
small.
I
size of
think
the
it's too small.
existing? Is the existing, the
It's
existing
really
is
tight
6 by
there.
9? And that's
No,
the
no, no,
outside
no, no.
dimension?
I think the
Yes.
building is too small for the cupola
Oh.
that's drawn.
Yes.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, if you think of
So
it
you're
in
still
terms of
raising
a
it.
shed in your backyard, that's really what the size of this is.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's It would have to be a little one or a stub up or
Maybe
not at all.
maybe that was more appropriate for the 8x10 that you were talking about, yeah, maybe.
6x9 and 20
Still a big
inches of
cupola.
that is that 20?
A little bit.
That's a big one on us.
That is big.
That's what you put on your two-car garage.
It's a little bigger than that, but it's still, yeah, proportionally. But then it gets into like the next size down, and this being a prefabricated company, maybe these are just like stock cupola pieces.
Is there a purpose to it?
No.
Just decorative?
Venting or,
Just
no.
Venting or anything? No.
Which road did it go?
I- I-
And if you do put one on later because of the architecturals of the other buildings, I would say maybe.
It can always be added
That's
on.
what I'm saying, you can always add it later.
That's true.
Okay. So no cupola, possible addition later. Makes your job even easier. All right, what
No
else,
steps,
guys?
no
Keep
cupola.
going. One other comment we have, we kind of, Dave danced around this a little bit, but, about the windows, creating a deeper sill on them, if they could do that. And also setting the windows back behind the wall plane, so that it creates, more of a shadow and depth on all your windows.
It's 2x4 construction, so
They
it's,
should be able to do it.
yeah, it's just as far back as they can.
And
It
on all of
depends
them?
on the
On all
window
windows.
manufacturer, you know, what their offering is on it. So single hung windows, mold together with screen. Window next to air conditioning. All those things. So with, I mean, no matter what, with the single hung or a slider, one plane is gonna be further up than the other. And in a 2x4 construction, it's, I mean, you're not gonna get that real depth, that
Right.
Rita's talking about. You have to do it with a thicker wall in order to get it looking more set in. But then you're reducing the interiors dimension.
So you think you're deeper sill, but you can't do it, not saying.
I just don't know if
much.
the type of construction can support that per se. But I think maybe the, like the casings on it, if those, let's go to that rendering again. It's hard to say what the casings are. Like, you know, all we have is the rendering, we don't have true elevations to,
I'm not sure about that in the
Judge.
back. As Dave looks at, what I'm gonna propose to you, what I'm gonna say in my note to you is that we're gonna request this, and you could follow up with Dave, on my letter, I'll say we requested deeper sills, which I think they'll be able to do, and we're gonna step back. And if they can't do that, you can just let Dave know, and he can relay that to us via email.
Sure.
For all these, because I think you're,
I have no problem
you're amenable
with
to all
that.
these changes, it's about pretty much what you're gonna be able to
Right,
incorporate with the one
right.
too. Okay.
And obviously I have to have thoughts about inside the building, being able to
Right.
maneuver
Mhm.
within it,
Exactly.
especially if we hired someone in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Seems kind of silly when we're looking at this thinking, what's replaced?
I know, it's so much better. We're picking it
It's
apart.
entertaining. Oh, make it that much better, you
I
know?
know.
That's right, that's
Now's
right,
the time.
exactly, exactly.
I particularly like the base that this is on, the old one.
The rock.
Yeah.
Posters or whatever.
That's so it doesn't float away with the
Yeah.
parking lot floods.
And the hurricane barriers over
I've
there,
tried that 1,000 times and it just, I don't know,
you just drive by it.
you just drive by it, I haven't really focused on it. It is
But it
bad.
is tight there, you're right.
It
I
is.
think you're
There's not a lot
very
of room.
smart to go with the smaller 6x9,
And I
yeah.
think, and truthfully, you know, we don't have two people in there, only when we're training.
That's right.
So, I mean, yes, it is nice to have the extra room like at Wade Beach, you know, you can get, you know, staff in there to work with the employees, and you're not so tight, and it is tight in there.
Yeah,
But
sure.
for this particular location, I think it's fine. You know, we're not storing anything in there, I mean, they do have a small fridge in there, but, you know, at Wade Beach, we do store some signage, and so there are some pluses about having it a bit bigger.
But that, you really don't have the space there.
I think it's best to stay
Yeah,
exactly
you
where we are.
just really don't have the
Right.
space.
Anything else, guys? E for eaves, you got the sills, change the base of the building.
Can we put a number and address on?
Beach.
I'm sorry, so you said the color is, those are the colors there? So the siding color is the gray and the trim color is the white? Because the rendering is blues.
Right.
Yeah.
And a black-
beach.
and a black
Beach.
roof?
The back roof, yeah.
And what's the roof out of? It's just a,
Black house.
yeah, got it, okay. Okay. Do you think about doing a metal roof, or is that way out of your cost?
It's a temporary.
I know, but they're gonna keep it. No, it's not temporary. It's a finite building that they're just going to be
They're gonna be
moving.
moving.
It's still gonna be outside for
You
the next
know,
30
Wheel it
years.
away every.
It's
Every
certainly,
winter?
it is certainly possible, I'm certainly a lover of the tin roof too. But this particular company doesn't do that.
They
I
Okay,
sell it all?
okay.
don't think so. And the only thing we have to watch out for too is the minute, if we go over $10,000, the deal's off too, because I have to go out to bid.
Mm.
I'm done.
So
These
no
guys are within
cupola, no
bid.
copper, no
Yeah.
tin roof,
No stone.
No stone, okay.
Yeah, it's,
And I don't know that the stove would
Examples
take it
of
over
it.
that, because it is, I mean, we're talking approximately $6,000 for
Yeah.
this, as
Yeah.
opposed to the 25 that I have in them.
That's amazing. Okay.
yeah, it's-
That's it.
But I mean, I think this is something that we can look into later,
Okay,
if we
yeah.
ever felt we wanted to upgrade it to that.
For longevity, okay. Thank you.
We're good?
Yeah,
Alright,
it's
so
great.
I'll get these.
Yes, I'll send you a letter,
Okay.
but the changes, I mean, I think we kind of,
Yeah, Isa, but I would want that in writing.
I'm gonna put them
so
in writing,
I can-
absolutely.
yeah, so I
I'll
see
get
it.
today, I'll try to do as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's cross fingers here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
great
luck.
job.
Hope the
A lot
timing
of
works.
parties to please, right?
Hope you all get home early tonight.
Okay, oh.
Days.
Big snowstorm tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah.
A lot?
3 to 5 inches? That's what they said.
It's gonna be like last year, everything in March.
Yes. Oh.
Hi. Okay, guys, next up, we got ARB number 2, 2019. This is MN Acting Studio at 22 Grove Street.
Yep, these are the two applicants for Grove Street, so you can
Yeah.
at least coordinate colors and coordinate things rather than have them.
Oh, so this is ARB number 2, and ARB number 4, you guys, this is. Okay, hit the Handwork School and MN Acting Studio. Okay, well, do me a favor, let's start with MN Acting Studio. Okay, I want you to introduce yourself to everybody
Hey,
and
guys,
say your relation to the studio and what you're looking to do.
Sure, so I'm Matt Newton, I'm the owner of MN Acting Studio, small on-camera studio, I have one in the city, this will be the second location of it. And just looking to put up a sign about 1 foot by 3 feet, and just keep it very small, and that's it.
How'd you end up coming to Darien?
I grew up in Guilford, like the last woman, and my wife and I moved from Brooklyn to Greenwich to Darien, and to have kids.
Why, this is not really
Why
on topic,
Darien?
but why Darien versus Greenwich? As we're recruiting young people all the time here.
Yeah, we kind of put up a radius, and we wanted to find a location where, we could raise our kids in the school system and all that, so that factored into it. But I'm sort of commuting into the city every day and sort of want to have a little more time in this area, which I love. We've been here 2 years now, and thus started the discussion around sort of bringing part of my business here.
Great,
So, yeah,
okay,
that's
awesome.
it.
So it's 12 by 36 sign.
Correct, and the letters are 10 inches.
And it would be hung where the current farmer's sign is?
Yeah, well, that's not there anymore, but I have a
That's
better
the
picture right here where I actually sort of photoshopped it onto there. So you can actually see my PowerPoint skills, but that's basically what the sign, the
That's like-
farmer's insurance or whatever it was it's the exact sort of
It's in,
replica of the size.
the overall sign size is exact, same size as the
Yeah,
farmer's.
whatever it's, yeah, that's sort of what I
By
base my
3 feet,
measurements on.
okay.
So it fits between the columns or does it?
Yeah, I think it
have
actually, the
overlap
columns
on
will
them?
be, it'll probably overlap a little bit, and the columns will be part of the placement of it,
Will support it.
supported, yeah.
There's gonna be a hanging sign too. Is this the one Marion was referring to? Her comments, Marion's comments.
Let me check it out.
I didn't get that.
This email
I've
to,
proposed a hanging sign.
Okay,
So it's the same property, two separate businesses,
Right.
maybe.
so you are having a hanging sign and this is, your sign's gonna be from the east.
But yours goes under the other sign that's
Yes.
hanging, right,
Yes, that's my request.
okay. This one,
What
this
sign
one
is
on the
there
side.
now?
This one,
The handwork school?
and then you're gonna add this beneath it.
so that's the other. And then,
Who is that group?
Here.
Oh, I see, okay.
Here, this
and
one.
then the MN would go here.
And then this, the MN is on.
Okay,
here.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
You know, that's because it was an existing location. I don't have any
I must say,
exception to it.
I'm not a fan of what's currently there, I gotta say, I think like the two different signs, I think has been kinda confusing in the first place. Just as a resident and just from like an architectural perspective, so, I don't know if you guys are creating these signs for simplification to kind of do what's there, that's why you're doing what you're doing, or if it's your own, like you're trying to get your own, it has nothing to do with that, you're just doing signs that you like best for your own statement.
As opposed to what fits in
Yeah.
the building.
As opposed to what's there right now, if you're trying to do any sort of mimicking of what's currently there.
Oh, no, just to simplify, I mean, I'm sort of up for anything, it seemed to make the most sense to sort of have the MN sign sort of above the door to the entrance door, doing it, and so it's not confusing. But
I think there is a question, so Matt and I have both, on that first story, we have separate space and then some shared space that we use at different times. But his entrance is always the front door, my entrance is always up the side ramp. And so part of what we're playing with is how do we direct people into the right door?
Why was the farmer's insurance on there in the first place? I can't remember. Why did they decide to go over there?
Well, they were allowed to have a wall sign, but because of the porch and the overhang, you're allowed to take the wall sign and instead of
Move
being
it
flat on the wall, you can bring it out to the front edge of the porch and hang it down underneath that. So that's what he wants to, in a sense, replicate,
Replicate.
is that same positioning. of
But
where the-
why
Well, the
they're
same
not
position
over
as
the
the
door?
farmers.
I don't think
Like as you go,
There's
there's
still a
no-
little space over
there's
there.
no room over the door.
yeah.
It's not that, and it's also not that door, it's the side door, this is the door.
Wait, the white door,
Wait,
the white door is.
The white door,
Yeah.
correct,
So
yeah.
now you're
So
So
the
the
going
green
here,
door belongs to,
and then your entrance is this
No,
way.
I'm the
The
side,
main door's,
I'm the side.
That goes up to.
I'm the ramp, I go up, it's,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, okay, all right,
so there's
Alright.
3 tenants in the building.
Oh, okay.
We
okay,
all
that
have a
makes
separate
sense.
door.
that
Sorry.
explains it,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So the physical therapy Pilates is this door?
And that goes just to the second floor.
Okay.
Yeah, would it in any way be better to have the MN Studio sign actually wall mounted next to the door?
I'm open to that, basically the same idea as a rectangle, put potentially between those two doors.
Yeah, or would that be more confusing? Just one on the fence like that. Because it would be nice to have that porch, I think to your point,
Yeah.
just to have it be a porch and
Yeah.
That's
not
what
be
you're speaking
interrupted.
of.
This is
Right,
the
yeah.
physical
Yeah.
therapy door, which is
It's cluttered
hangings.
Yes.
with it hanging.
I got a crazy
I
question.
don't know.
Right, and then she's around here.
What's that?
I get it now.
Do they have the
It just
number?
looks kinda odd hanging off the poles under the eave. And I, for a brief moment, thought, well, why not put it right down below the handrail, right? Have the top edge of the sign at the top of the edge of the handrail. And then the second sign goes right next to it on the handrail.
The second sign being the Craftwork School?
But that's
Is
not,
that all-
that's
is
not
that
as
all-
related to where it's.
Exactly,
the
right.
No, I know,
entrances.
I'm just,
You're saying the Pilates.
that may be too confusing. Where's the number on the building?
And you're-
John,
We have a number of it. It's on the mailbox.
It's on the mail, yeah, it's right there.
It's on the mailbox
It's
that's
on the
sitting on the
mailbox.
porch.
Oh, no, it's on the door, it's on the main
On the
blue
main
door.
door.
It's on the blue door.
Yeah, on the wall.
Oh, yeah, there it
Three.
is,
It's
okay.
on the door.
I would
You mean like
prefer, I
hanging
would
or-
prefer to see this here, but I think that's gonna be confusing
Confusing.
unless there's
Matt, this is your door, this way
arrow
around.
or something.
Okay.
I mean, I'm.
And this is the plotting
Photo
stuff.
Yeah.
signs when they have
Okay.
multiple
Unless-
signs.
I think what's, I think what
Plotting
confuses
sign
me,
gets here.
Well, they're on the post. You see, they're on the post.
I wanted them to.
It doesn't, to me, it
Right.
doesn't simplify
But I don't think that-
finding your door at all.
No, I agree, it does.
There's something confusing about it.
Well, I was gonna say, what's confusing to me most of all, and I think what we kinda did disservice is the Pilates sign.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, what's starting to look confusing, because the Pilates sign almost is staying like, the hanging sign saying like the whole building is Pilates, and then you've got these other signs on the building, so I think we created confusion in the first place by like, I thought the Pilates studio was taking over that whole building, I didn't realize there was room for
Yeah.
2 other residents in addition to them when we approved that. So, I think that's, that might be where the confusion is. In the
But
first
it's a
place.
really strategic placement for my entrance, so it's not bad.
Right,
Right,
No,
it's
that
not
I
a bad
understand.
solution for me
for
to-
you.
For me.
But what if we moved the Pilates sign and
Next to
that
their door?
sign onto the doors?
I know, so do we have the ability, Dave, Keating,
Yeah.
to
You can't
move?
do the one, you can't do the sign over here, you bump
To
your head.
request it, but you can't.
No, on the door.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, that creates a
can't
whole
cover-
new
you
sign.
can't cover up the number.
We can put the number here. Great big pictures
Christmas lights, great.
in neon.
It does seem kind of patched together,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking, but
I think the most effective one is actually the Eminent Acting Studio, where your sign is hanging.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is my most pleasing of all the.
Thank you.
That's the obvious, like, I think that worked for State Farm, Farmers Insurance. I think the sign is it's within regulatory.
Current regulations, or, it's still, the current regulations still support that, okay.
And the letters are 12 inches max, right?
10.
10 inches, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, and the square, square footage of the sign, and,
3 foot.
yeah, meets the facade
Yeah.
requirements. So, I mean, technically, it can go, it can go there.
Yeah, and I don't, yeah.
And
well,
you
if
can't,
you're pleased with how if you're happy with how it shows your entrance and stuff, then you should be happy. I mean, if you think it really is gonna do what you want it to do in terms of directing
The acting
people.
sign,
No, your
the
portion.
handwork school sign. So Matt is the acting school and I'm handwork.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, actually, we gotta get actually to part of that. So the handwork sign, I will say, pretty much all the stuff you have on there can't be on there.
No, you should have a second proposal that looks like
Good,
that.
okay.
Sorry.
Got it, okay.
Dave, let me see it.
So in that,
That one. Yeah,
you said
Oh, that I
just
got
having
it,
that
okay.
sign hanging there with no arrow or information, you still think
Yeah,
it's
I got it.
sufficient for people finding?
I think it is not bad.
Okay.
I mean, it's a tricky entrance.
Mhm. Do you have a second sign on the wall by your entrance?
I don't.
No, okay, I'm just making, there was mention of that somewhere, I was just making sure. So it's
Yeah.
just just the one sign for you?
It's just the one sign. I had an open house today with just a temporary sign and some balloons. And we did pretty well. We had a lot of people show up and very few people were confused.
Okay.
So I think
Good.
that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I have kids and moms for the most part coming and they get an email the day before. So anybody who's a first timer will get an email that'll say,
Oh.
interrupt the ramp on the side.
Smart.
So I don't, because it's such a small population and it's inevitably very local people, I don't think it's that hard.
There'd be a lot of word of
Yeah,
mouth
it's
and-
not, I'm not drawing customers by a sign. I'm not a retail store where I need people to walk in based on the sign.
Well, once they find it,
Yeah, once they've come once, they probably
you-
found it. I mean, I'm totally, you guys may have a much better idea of how to do a sign. I'm more than welcome that. There's a post there with the sign, integrating onto that sign seemed like
how will you,
useful way to
how
do it.
will this come down by chain, or how will that
I
match?
think so. I don't know. Does the current tenant have to approve that? Does she have to say, yes, you can put your sign on my post?
Dave Keating?
Well, yeah, since they got permission first, yes. And as
So
far
if
as
you were
the
to
total
share-
area, and it's their sign in a sense.
Actually, would even, you have the physical therapy Pilates going in the one direction, what if you put a bracket going 90 degrees off of that on, you know, at the same height, coming off
Interesting.
the other direction, because then it relates
To your location.
to your
A
ramp.
separate bracket.
Yeah, separate
Yeah, that's a
bracket,
good
so you
idea.
have the two signs, they form an inside corner.
You don't like that?
No, I do, I do.
Oh, okay.
I'm still ruminating on I've gotta ask her if she'll let me.
Well, I mean, if you did this, though, if you actually did it on a separate bracket, would you need to seek permission? Because is that post common
Post is the
property
post.
for the,
Is there
Yeah.
room for another post closer to your entrance?
yeah, that's a good point.
You could, I mean, our temporary sign I posted, which was not very effective in this very windy day. It was up for a while, was actually, flush against the entrance to the walkway up. I think that's effective if you're open to having another,
Is
if
there
you're
any
open to having another
regulations that-
post
Yeah.
or another
Well, maybe
sign or a.
That makes more sense to me than hanging off of this.
Yeah.
Because you
It's
don't
your-
have,
I don't like the idea of like a more posts of it, that building is small. You know,
well,
it's-
would it have to be a post, or is there a, I don't know what the railing
It
looks
was,
like.
you could attach it to the railing, but it would still, I know what you're saying, it would still be another thing
Yeah.
out there.
Well, I mean, to that point, though, could he even do a bracket off the corner of the building by the door, like further up the ramp?
Well, so if you look at
Or does
my,
that get too low?
Dave really scared me
Interesting.
that about how I was gonna do a sign, so I have a bunch of cascading proposals.
Okay.
Right, one, I can have a big sign I propose, two, I can have a really small sign I propose, or third, there is, I don't have the right word for it, there's a bit of the building that sticks out that has a little bit of an eave. You could also put a hanging sign there that is closer to what you're suggesting, that makes
And
sense.
that's this
Yeah.
option?
Blade
Yep.
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This other's so cute though.
The doll's got traction.
Yeah.
I've got marketing.
Yeah, I like the doll.
I've got
I like it all.
brand identity in that doll. So I think my goal, and believe me, I care very much about what it looks like, the overall aesthetics. It is just for folks who know where they are going ahead of time to see something that says, I'm here, right? And to the extent possible, gets them into the right door, not knocking on Matt's door, not knocking on Rachel's door for Pilates, gets them into the right place.
Well, what if you mounted it to the side of the rail going up?
Yeah, what if it,
Well, that's what I did for
Oh,
the
that's what
open
you did
house
today.
today. Yeah, and I'm fine to do it, but it's another thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
where
that's
should it be?
another.
well, I'm just, instead of hanging here,
Yeah,
if we put it
like,
on
here's,
this.
Yeah.
Oh, all
Like,
right, you've got a
this is the
better,
page
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
this is the page before
Yeah.
that, or after. So here you're saying on this?
Yeah, unfortunately, that tree really blocks.
Yeah,
Behind
it's
the
kind of
tree.
right behind the tree
Is
on
the
that
height of
ramp
this
up
all
is what
right?
I did for
Interesting.
today.
And in this case, you
It's
The area is too
effective,
big.
but it's,
because you're
I would
only
understand
You're
if
gonna
you
have
said I don't
two-
want another thing.
Yeah.
detached
either have it
sign,
there-
but it's maximum 6 square feet.
on here,
So you can't just say,
or you'd
okay,
have it
tenant
hanging there, I don't know.
6 square feet.
that it
now
Okay,
makes-
do
so
this.
if I get out of my car and I walk to the front door,
Oh,
and
so,
I see the MM Studio one, I see a
so
signpost
we're
for
having a
the
crazy conversation.
Pilates on the post, and I look to the left, and on the inside of the rail, right here, on the inside, on the end of the inside.
Oh,
So if you turn left, you see the sign on the end of the rail.
will you see that
Because
from
then-
the street?
Yeah, but you wouldn't
No,
see
because
this.
you're not gonna see the blade sign from the street either.
No,
Look at
I'm
the
talking
picture,
about,
look at the picture right
I'm
here.
talking about hanging it here,
Yeah, no, that one you would see.
on this, whatever that is behind the tree.
But I was trying to, if you're trying to figure out which door I'm going in.
Right, no, I see what
So
you're saying.
right now, I'm guessing that MN's to the right, I have no idea what's behind the blue door.
Yeah, I think this
Yeah.
is confusing.
And that, right,
With
so
a lot of
if
signs.
you move the 3 signs apart, put one here, one
Mhm.
here, and one on the walkway going up. The only way you get to your door is through the walkway going up the ramp, right?
Right on the
If you,
building. You mean on the
No,
side?
if
I was
you
gonna
had-
mount it right on,
On
I
this-
don't know, I'm trying to, I was trying
What
to
if you
separate
had a
the three.
blade sign coming out
I would do it.
That's where I was talking about doing a,
up here?
yeah,
Blade sign?
I think it works, it's hard to see the trees in the way. I think it is better as a hanging sign over, essentially over that window.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also a fine option. It's another thing hanging up, but that's
But that's maybe,
fine
that's
option as well.
allowed or no?
Separate.
I think this is confusing, but that's not what we're discussing. So I think to have your sign
Okay.
hanging from here still doesn't indicate what direction you go. Unless you had something back here saying, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be over here.
Got a
So-
50-50 shot at it.
Yeah, that's right, or 1 and 3. So I'd
But
like
if
to,
it's in the ramp,
yeah,
then you know you gotta go up the ramp to go there.
but you're not gonna see that from the road. where it
Flashy.
is.
No, but nobody goes to a location because of a sign, they go there because GPS took them to 22 Grove Street. So
That's
once you
true.
get to 22 Grove Street, which is where's the number on the building? Once you get to 22 Grove Street, then the question is, I'm standing in the parking lot, I parked in the street, I got out, I walked up the front sidewalk, what door am I going in?
Right, so I'd like to see the sign over here somewhere. This one
Right,
is very confusing.
What is the rule about a temporary sign if on the first, so every 6 or 8 weeks, I'm gonna have kids that show up for the first time, right? Could I have a temporary sign on that day? Could I have something sitting, say, on the ramp or balloons or like the things I did for the open house today? Because that's really the only time that you're really gonna run into that, is the first time somebody shows up.
Dave?
Well, technically, the regulations say that no balloons or air-filled things or wiggly men with a fan on the bottom kind of thing.
oh,
That's
no blue
all
rat from New York City?
prohibited by the regulations,
Ah,
so, or feather
Or like
flags or
I
something.
mean, or maybe like
So-
a yard
So
sign.
technically, the regulations say none of that.
Oh, okay.
Second thing is you're allowed to have a temporary sign once per year for no more than 7 consecutive days.
Oh, okay, so that's not.
So maybe the solution would be a simpler thing, and I've been thinking about it and listening kind of thing. Maybe it would be like a real estate open house sign that you'd put out near the sidewalk on those every
Right.
7 to 8 weeks or so that you have new classes starting. And so that day that the new classes start, the first time that families are coming there, is when you have that little sign that technically it's not allowed by the regulations, but if it's a good solution, it's a good solution. And then on the beginning of the ramp, literally where you would put your feet, you have a small sign that
Yeah.
says the handworks school and an arrow facing up
Yeah.
kind of thing. So at least people
Kinda
would
what I
know
did
they're in the
today.
right place. It's not gonna be visible 99% of the time unless you're walking up to that ramp.
Mm-hmm.
But at least people would get that confirmation, yes, I'm at 22 Grove Street, which way do I go?
Mm-hmm.
And people are looking down at the walkway, they're gonna know where to go.
Yeah, but you're saying it's only a temporary sign? That's what you're saying, you'd only have a
In
temporary
addition.
sign?
no. you
Oh,
did it
in
permanently.
addition.
So a regular sign that is aesthetically appealing and
Plus.
labels it,
This is
but then on the
33
first
long.
day, every whatever it is, 6 to 8 weeks, have something
Got it,
out
okay.
that helps direct to the door.
Got it, got it, got it,
Again, I did it today and almost everybody got it right.
yeah. I like your idea so far best about this, a sign on the pole, about adding more elements. There's a lot of stuff going on in this area. If you pass the building, it's already very,
Okay,
between the
so-
two signs hanging already, I always find it confusing, even when I'm walking by, it's like, what's going on in this building?
So on the left side of the ramp,
Yeah,
going up the ramp, your left hand,
yeah.
right underneath the handrail.
Yeah.
But this is much smaller with an arrow on it. Inside.
I think a lot of
Instead of
people
walking
miss it,
on it
though.
a Dave thing, you don't shovel it off in the wintertime.
But most people driving this way are gonna miss it.
No, but then she puts her sign out the one time and on the little post in the little yard and.
Yeah, but I
in
know,
front.
but most people, I think, driving by in general, I think you might miss out a lot of, I don't know, Molly's all right, yeah.
People
It's
don't
a
go to
little-
buildings for signs, they go there because it says 22. They put it in their GPS.
I think you're right.
I know, listen, I did a retail 25 years ago, and signs do not increase business. It's been proven over and over and over again. And it's the location, how do you get to the address? Because that's how you look it up, that's what you call, what's your address? 22 Grove Street, where are you? Oh, I'm between this and this.
Look for
And
the
then
sign.
when they get to the building, then they need the sign.
Then they need to find it.
Yeah, the GPS takes them to the building. Then the question is where they park. And I know this is the building, I have to walk up. Then the question is, which of the 3 doors am I going in?
I don't know.
Monty says left, you can have this. Monty says.
No, but I
Door
think,
number, what is door
but there is a little bit of it to me. I've been running this business out of my house for 2 years, and there's, a little bit of traction with the logo. I think there is some market cachet for people to say, well, I've heard about that, or
And
we've
I've
talked
seen it.
about it.
Or what is this?
What is
Yeah.
this? Oh, that's a thing, right? They go, there is a little bit, I know that's not the primary purpose of it, but I would love for it to be something other than
The direction.
entirely directional.
Yeah,
Maybe
I saw-
I'm
Well,
crazy, but
Let's go back and discuss. You don't want to be under the blade because the blade turned the wrong way. You can't see it from the road.
What's that
Good
one
drive.
option of the blade, if,
Then
about the other side of
Then
the
you turn it
blade?
the other way. That's a better way. I think the better way to do it. The other sign should have been spun that way too. But
The Pilates sign makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
so now the question is
Yeah,
which
there's
door?
very little relationship of that sign to the actual Pilates studio.
Right.
But again, everybody that's going there knows which door they're going in.
Now they do. It's been around.
has it been around for a long time?
So where are we?
At least 2 years.
I
You're
think,
covered, I think.
Matt, you can go home.
Yeah,
You're done.
Is he, are we okay with that versus
I don't
him
know.
mounting it on the wall, him hanging it out?
I think
Yeah.
that's the best location for
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that's, I
Yeah,
think that's
you should
why the
confuse them.
plumbers
Okay.
ended up there.
All right.
but I'd like to see this hanging, because I think this is gonna draw attention.
Yeah, it's a
Stop. I
Yeah.
Yeah,
think you need
Okay.
this.
This one.
on-
Hold a second, so we're okay with Matt's sign
Yes.
hanging as is, 12 by 36 inches, Tiffany, the letters, the blue and like the color.
yeah,
Right.
I think, it's a nice simple sign.
Okay,
Honestly, the board shouldn't be any longer than the width of 2 columns.
It wouldn't be, yeah, that wouldn't look good. Agreed.
yeah, it'll be,
Okay.
okay. Whiteboard. Okay,
Absolutely.
you'll get a letter saying it's approved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, run along, Matt.
I will
Okay.
feel your support. Okay, because you're being here, I promise.
My friend,
Okay.
thanks guys, appreciate your
All
time.
right. Hmm.
I want to be easy, I'm sorry.
But we want what's best for.
I like your
the-
idea, Dave Riley. I like your suggestion about doing it on the other side. So we've got one side's a potty sign, the other side. Since we have the pole there, since we have a sign there that's working and it's calling most of the attention anyways, I think it'd be effective. It points in the right direction. That's,
I think that's a good
So
solution.
just put a bracket out that way,
Yeah.
and, yeah, that's the easiest, And I think it balances a little better too, I don't know.
It consolidates them.
I don't like it hanging underneath, I think it gets lost. I think it
Agreed,
should stand
it's
on
too
its
low
own.
there,
I
too.
think it should stand
Yeah,
on its
a
own, so if it
bracket
were
out the other.
out this way, would that be okay?
Yes, yes. I've never done this. I've never had,
Yeah, but
I don't know
I mean,
what you
just-
would call this.
Yeah,
I've never
just
had
your
it.
experience in terms of
So
walking
David,
in
who
and
owns the
going
pole?
up the ramp, I mean, it's,
Who owns the sign
Kind of
pole?
points up the ramp.
it kind
Who
of
owns the
is.
sign pole?
Whoever put it up, the property owner gave them permission to put it up initially.
So the property owner doesn't own the,
Well,
I
he will
don't know
eventually.
if Dell said he paid for it or not, but
we can ask Tulsetti in a second.
oh,
see, part of the problem was there was one tenant in the building originally,
Yeah.
and they occupied the whole building, and then it became 2 tenants, the second floor and the first floor. First floor had the sign over the front porch, second floor had the whole of the hanging sign, and the first floor didn't need it, so.
You see him outside? Is he here?
Still
Yes,
has
he is
space.
here. But I think it was
Yeah,
there,
that
that pole
was-
was there before
Three
Pilates came
tenants,
in.
and
They
that's
used
part
that
of the
pole.
problem, but
Yeah.
So let's ask him.
everybody
Solve the
doesn't get
problem real quick.
equal.
Hey, Dan Dolcetti? Dan, could you pop in here a second?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You called into the principal's office.
you're in
Yeah.
serious trouble.
We have a question about your 22 Grove Street space where Handcrafted's going up and currently the Pilates studio's there, the Pilates sign.
Can we add a sign to this? Or-
Sure.
Do you
Is
own the
this your,
pole?
do you own the pole?
Well, I have to ask her, but I don't think she'd have a problem with it. We'll find out.
That
Whose
pole was
pole
there
is it?
before she came though, wasn't it? It was
Is
the
it your
previous
pole?
tenant's pole,
You
right?
know, I don't recall. I've done so many things, you know, you guys.
That's a
I'm getting
small-
old too.
Jeez, you're not
Yeah.
helping.
Here's what you're gonna go do, you're gonna go tell that Pilates lady, they're gonna put another blade sign on the opposite side of that pole.
We'll just tell her. Is that what you're thinking about doing?
I'm trying to figure out where to put the other
I think it's a
sign.
good suggestion.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be super happy with
Put
it.
it where, on
Did you
this
draw it?
side
On
here?
this
Did you draw it?
side,
Oh, on
yeah,
the
just
side of the
pictures,
house?
Here.
no,
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 right here.
hang it,
Like just scribbled.
okay.
On the
See,
pole.
perpendicular, so
Oh,
90 degrees.
I
So
see, I
one
got
comes-
you.
One straight out to the
Yeah,
curb
and
and the
one
other
you
one's
can see
parallel
this
to the
way.
sidewalk,
Right.
right.
Okay.
So you have one over the door here, this one for the blue door, and this one for the ramp.
I see. I have to ask her, because I'm not sure if we, I think she put that up. I'm not mistaken. I can't recall.
So you have to ask for
Yeah, I
permission.
have to ask
But
her.
aren't you the boss? Aren't you the boss? Probably.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, yeah.
You don't know,
Hopefully.
you don't know tenants.
Oh, yes,
You don't know
she
tenants.
was saying, yes, I do.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
They have their own
Sure,
opinions.
you don't know.
All right, yeah, yes, what is our option if they do say no? If, and you don't wanna push it, you've got a happy tenant there, so if the tenant
Yeah,
doesn't say no,
I'll-
what's our?
I'll ask her. You
Okay.
can ask her.
Sure, sure, but if she were to, I'm just, what
Yeah.
is the procedure?
Yeah, so we don't have to go, you don't have to come
Do I
back.
have to
and-
come back? Do I?
I'll see if we can give her an option too.
Yeah,
We
let's
have a
give you a
couple-
second
yeah,
option.
two options.
We'll give her a second option,
We'll
okay.
get a second option and we can,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
You want a second option?
Couldn't you fix the sign right to the building?
Allison's point, could it be just affixed to the actual building?
yeah.
And you can't see
Can you,
it,
can you put it, can you put it on the building is the question.
so
Yeah.
I,
It
It can be mounted
my-
on the building,
I
technically.
think the
Because it's-
best place for that is
Yeah,
this
right here.
part of
Can
the
you put it
building
right on the
juts
corner
out,
of the
so right
building?
behind the tree. It
Right.
would be,
Put it on
then it would be
Corner
on
on
the
the side.
front
Can you do
of
that,
my
Dave?
part of the building.
Right.
Can only project
yeah.
out 12 inches from the building.
No, not mount it to the side, like a
Like a-
clapboard right to the
so
side,
here's
of
the
the
side of the
signboard,
building.
right to the side of the building.
Sean, Sherry,
Go there.
Dan,
Google.
But
this is
it
the side of the
could
building,
underneath
so we're
the-
talking, this is already as large as I can make it.
Yeah, no, but on the
talking
side,
about
right
this-
there on the side.
Yeah.
I
on the
think Sean
But
cloud.
has a good, I think Sean has a good
It is
idea. Why
most
not right in the corner?
strategic where those two windows are. I think this part that sticks out, then it faces the street. So you've got, my option 3 is put it right there, hang it over those two windows.
Yeah.
Does that, I don't know
That would be
if
a
you can
smaller
tell.
tall, I mean,
It
a
would be
less
a
tall,
small-
it would be
yeah,
a
it would
less
be a-
tall
That would be
sign.
smaller.
That would have to be your
Just the
narrower one?
name, yeah, it would just be the name. I think that, I mean, your
You have to measure it.
picture is great, maybe it is better
I'd like
On
to
the side.
see this on the
On
side of
that?
the building.
on that.
But maybe
I like
not
that.
quite
Next to the
size.
windows.
Oh, maybe that's
What
the
is that,
best
Sharon?
idea of all.
This is,
This is the
Side of the building.
sign.
On the side of the building.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
the best idea.
Yeah.
You guys are
And
so smart.
In the appropriate size, I mean, the size that, is allowable, I think it's gonna
On that
have,
location on the side.
yeah, I think that's gonna give you the most,
You're saying
I
that
think
over
this
the
would be
pole?
smaller.
yeah. I think the pole is confusing,
Oh,
I think so too.
yeah.
It gives you your own identity.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's your own,
Keeps
it's
you
not
separate,
part, it's not
otherwise-
part of
Does
something.
that bother you as a separate thing?
no,
Dave?
It's less a separate thing than.
yeah,
What do you think, Dave?
it's still, yeah.
Well, there's 3 different things going on.
No,
Oh,
on the
sorry.
side, on the side of the building, the same side that would be in parallel with the ramp going up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you go up there.
where
So-
that blank spot is.
so right here, where the side turns, from the porch going back, where you turn and go down from the curb towards the back. So you would
Over
not
the
see,
ramp,
you would
right,
not
right.
see it from the sidewalk, you would have to
Right
see
over
it as
here.
you were driving down
Yeah.
the side. You'd have to see it when you hit the ramp.
See it
came from the
movie
sports
theater
shop.
side,
Yeah.
Movie
see
theater
it.
side,
but you would not see it from the
road,
Grove Street side.
right. And you'd see it if you hit the ramp. As soon as you walked over to that side, you'd see it on the side of the building.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
per the regulations, technically it's supposed to be on the front wall. And doesn't make any sense to put it on the front wall, cause that's not where you wanna get the people to walk to. So you could approve it on that side wall.
I think that's a good
And
idea.
what would this, what are you making this out of?
A wood, again, I'm new to this, it's a wood laminate,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
great,
right?
perfect.
It's very cute.
And the copy is painted on?
Pardon?
The copy is painted on?
It's printed, I get,
Yeah, like a detail.
right?
The
It's
decal.
a commercial.
I
Did
think
you,
that-
did you
the
draw
image.
this?
No, a great girl named Jennifer Hoyden, drew it. Great illustrator.
Very cute.
She's terrific. But you can send all your friends and their 12-year-old daughters to make that doll.
It's a physical, like a 3D one?
Yeah, it's sewing.
Fine.
It's sewing and
The pole sign.
embroidery and punch and felting. It's really
This
fun.
is what it's for
No,
the
no,
girls.
the existing pole sign.
They're about to come up. Does a 3-year-old do it? Too young.
I have a 4-year-old today. She made pom poms all day. She's kept
Yeah,
making
so it'll be right there.
We will see in your place.
I don't know how tall do you think that is?
Bring it on. Bring it on. It is really fun, actually.
Yeah.
One technicality thing, is the doll, how tall in inches is the doll?
Oh, yeah, and
That's
And are we-
A little over 6.
how big do you think the
Close,
current
right?
sign is, the pole sign?
16, 18 inches.
The current close sign? I might be able to find that information.
The only reason I'm saying is, do you think 20 by 32 is too big for the wall?
I was wondering that too, actually. I was just asking about the size of the doll, because looks like it might be a little bit more than 15 inches.
Just tell me what it has to be under and we will scale it. for that
15
size.
inches.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, like, as Sean's proposing about the wall, like, what your overall sign is and how it would fit to the overall wall, you know?
What's your word?
I'm actually worried it might be a little too small.
Small.
Compared, I think that hanging sign's a little,
The hanging sign is
Larger.
almost that dimension. It's just
So you,
oval.
so you looked at it, but it was oval, it's about that
Yeah,
size?
I measured it. It is those dimensions, but it's a different shape because it's more oval,
Oh,
more
okay.
curved.
I
and
think
20
that
by
would be
32
totally
will
fine
find
with that.
Yeah.
okay. And you guys okay with the size of the doll, even though it's probably slightly
Yeah.
above our 15 inch? Okay. Okay.
Great, great, great.
So is this what we're going with, or that's,
Go with this. Yep. This mounted to the wall.
You had to come down and answer the question.
Okay, yeah.
Can I mount? I guess that's a question for you, Dan. Are you gonna let me mount it to the wall?
Sure.
You're the best landlord I've ever had. The only landlord I've ever had.
I'm the only one, so I'm
You're-
the best
you are
one.
the
Oh, thanks a lot. You
best.
have to
You're
say
the
the last
best.
piece. I mean, give me
Give you a little credit?
give me a little credit.
You are really good.
I think that's a great.
We could always fix it, that's not.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, you guys were so
Erica,
nice.
thank you.
Thank you, thank you. This is all new and you've not made it hard and I really appreciate it.
This is a good group.
Oh, then we haven't
Yeah.
done our job. Then we
Wait,
haven't done our
there's
job
another,
well.
there's another person coming in here. in a
Yeah,
minute.
okay, you give it to that guy.
It's true.
right?
Are you
I
like
tell
women,
everybody.
or do you have classes?
This is the best group.
I do, I have,
You
on the
website
sign that I
You know, you
can't
get
use,
Yeah,
because I wasn't very
website.
smart,
Genevieve
you'll
Okay.
see the website.
Service coming
And you can
in
go
to
there,
do
there's
the
classes, and
interviews.
there's
Not.
one-off workshops.
So
I
if you-
was on
really,
the
get outta here.
Instagram group, you're called Darien, Town of Darien, they post stuff on the new business thing in town. It'd be an interesting feature for them. I'll email you.
You're the coolest person.
I'll email you.
I love
It'll be
it,
fun.
thank you, thank you. I am trying really hard.
Good,
And
it's tough.
It's good, it's good. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Do you have to be 12 to sign up?
You know, I had all these grown-ups today, like, we wanna, I haven't figured out the grown-up market yet. I've offered a couple of things. That market out.
That's all you have to do.
That's a girls' night out, I figured out, but I would think that there are, if there are women that are at home or working flexible schedules. And I do get some, I don't know if I've ever had a man, I get boys sometimes that wanna do the stuff, but mostly women, girls. But it does seem like there might be people who wanna do a 10 to 12 or 9 to 11 or something, and I haven't figured out that yet.
Yeah.
You've done your duty.
Yeah, but it's fun, it's pretty, it's stuff. All right, you guys have other things to do, bye, bye, see ya.
All right, guys, next up is ARB number 1, the proposed
I'm right here
restaurant
again.
Squabbling with Dan Dolce.
We got more coming in?
Now, we have new people.
They should have
Great.
separate.
Oh, yes.
Hi, I'm Dan Dolcetti.
Hi, I'm Kate Perez. Nice
Oh,
to
hi
meet you.
Kate, nice to meet you.
I'm
New
new as
face.
of today. Yep.
Dan,
Oh, is today your first day?
Hey Dave, yeah, that's right.
I
No,
come
Dave.
occasionally.
Dave?
Okay.
Yeah, all right, nice to
meet
see you.
Yeah.
Hi, Liz.
Occasionally.
Kate's our new one, she has
Yeah, right?
architecture background.
Recently.
She's amazing.
Haven't you?
Yeah, in the last 3 months, I've been here 2 out of
Kate
3.
does?
2 out of 3.
Oh, you do? Ah, I love it.
If we
Where'd
go
they
before
find
that,
you,
I'm in
Kate?
trouble. You can have it.
She just moved to town, she's a new
We
Darien.
always are looking for great people in town, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure.
you're facing the camera.
Oh,
We're being recorded.
You're being
Are we
recorded.
on, are we
That's
on
why-
TV?
That thing is
Yeah.
a camera?
Oh, we are on TV?
Yes, well, it's not live.
I
but
got,
we're being
I got my
recorded.
shirt.
Oh, we are being recorded?
Hi, George, how are you?
Oh, do you need
That's
this?
why that's why we're
No,
down here.
I'm
this time.
supposed to have my pretty face facing.
Yeah, you know what, you could come up this way, actually, why don't you, come all the way in,
Come on over here.
that way you're a bit on, you
got
put
it?
your stuff up here and.
Sit here. I'll sit here. You wanna sit down?
Tucker's gonna do most of the talking.
Well, we don't know.
He's got a better voice
than I
He's got a more mature voice.
Take a look at this. You want one of these? Oh, you got one?
Yeah, is
Okay,
this
got
different,
it. Okay.
is this different than what we have here?
Of course,
Yes.
we wouldn't,
This is really
want to
different.
make it
This
more
is new.
exciting.
This is new and
Okay.
exciting.
These are the renderings.
Thank you so much.
This is what we wanna do. After so many years.
Is that the name, Terrace Cafe?
We don't know yet. I like the name.
It's my daughter's name, well,
Terrace.
my first
Oh, I
daughter's
love
name.
that.
Give them the drum here.
I'm kinda stuck, but now I have another daughter and I kinda feel bad.
Oh. What's her name?
Chloe.
Chloe's Cafe?
It's a few changes.
We were thinking of mixing the two and making it parched,
Oh, sure,
so
yeah,
Paris
sure.
and Chloe. But we're still, we kinda stuck with Paris for now.
Tucker, introduce yourself, because you have, you know, members, you have a new member, and
Ma'am,
Good.
this one?
so, do you need that? Kate is our newest member.
Hi, Kate.
We made several copies.
Or you can introduce yourself, then you guys can all introduce yourself for the notes for the record. and-
This is Uncle Dan Balsetti.
Hello, everybody.
That's George Sionis. So he owns a building, he's the lessee, and I'm the humble architect. I'm Tucker Chase. So, what we've got, how do I remember what we did some of the changes? So, one by one, there was a request to put in some of the stuff that we need to put there, such as air conditioning, condensers on pads. We've shown those in the back. In this location right here, near the back door, we've shown, I don't know, was there landscaping last time? We've got a lot of
I
landscaping
don't
this
think we did
time.
any
We
landscaping.
just had
Note
the
some of the changes that we
Okay.
did.
Yeah, the landscaping has been all designated, I think on the drawing that you had.
This way.
The new drawing.
Oh,
The new drawing.
sorry.
We'll all look at that.
This
This is what was in the packs.
No, there's no landscaping on that. So the one that I just handed you has landscaping on it, which was designed not by me, so it's probably pretty good. This has landscaping on it, tree, bushes, whatever they are, what does it say?
We were able to
Holly
keep most of the
shrubs.
trees also.
And we kept your tree?
All of
That's
this,
my tree.
the bubbled
Nobody touches my
area,
tree.
is all remaining, all those trees remain, these two are there as well. The whole line next to Squab Lane remains. And obviously at the top, the 36-inch oak and a few of the others that are there. It's a little crowded, so some of them are gonna come out, but not the big ones.
You're pruning back.
Yeah,
At the time, we didn't have materials, colors, lighting. You had talked about changing stone columns to wood columns. the
right,
grass
that's been
underneath.
done. So you can see particularly on the rendering, that we have all the columns are wood. The colors on the rendering are also what George has chosen for the building. So it would have kind of an off-white where the white is indicated. The actual window mullions, muntins would be black, and the body color of the building would be taupe. Right?
Correct.
Is it
It's 5%.
off-white or cream?
It's
I mean-
off-white.
Just barely off-white?
And
I hate to, we don't have any names here,
You're right
right?
to ask the question. We
It's,
don't-
it would be the Benjamin Moore off-white color called off-white.
Benjamin Moore off-white?
Oh, I don't know.
That's one I don't know.
I don't know that either.
And I know a lot of them, but
Is it as creamy as this?
I think the sheen is kind of throwing the color off a
Yeah,
little bit.
I'm sure.
So I
Is
can,
it more like this?
no, not that, that would be
That won't-
very white.
Okay.
That's the existing fence around the transformers there.
Okay.
I'll just go on the record, I don't like cream with trim like this. I prefer white, but
The straight white?
as white as you can get, yeah, I think it's
It's
just
like a
crisper
brilliant
looking,
white.
it's right looking, it's,
Yeah,
that's all, that's my,
I agree with that.
I agree too.
You all want white?
So then white it is.
White it is.
I mean, it could be an
No,
all-white.
I'm
a
okay
slight
with white. I was
off-white.
just trying to,
White?
I was
Off
just
white.
trying to keep from the maintenance, cause a pure white would show a lot more than
Oh,
any other
no.
color.
Well, not than this, but I don't think.
You're talking about an off-white?
Yeah,
Yeah, Allison, that's fine.
no, I think crisper the better.
I know what you're saying.
Look at the rear. This has got a better color on it.
Mhm.
From the
It's hard,
print.
it's just
more-
hard to tell on these
Yeah,
renderings.
right.
No, I know, but I mean,
There's
but Allison's point
off-white
is
and there's
more-
off-white.
No, we can stick to a white, I'm okay with that.
I think white would be
Allison will come
fine.
and wash it down. She'll come and power wash it once it's
Right,
every
oh
spring.
yeah. Tidy up.
So, the exhaust, chimney for the hood, I've indicated something in the roughly the location. However, we don't have the exact hood size, we don't have all of this information, so I don't know, what the demand is gonna be, but the idea is that something will be there. On one of the drawings, you'll see that
Are you working with the kitchen design consultant for the,
Yes.
we are working with one, yes, who still works by hand. Let me tell you what a drag that is. No digital files. At any rate, that's, okay, that's what we're gonna, so we have to, move the stuff over and
Mhm.
get it into a digital format. So I did do one that showed an enclosure on where the exhaust fan would go.
right,
But again, this has to be done with consultation with, somebody like Captive Air or whoever's doing the hood, to make sure that, this all meets fire regulations and so forth. So I can't promise that would be the look, so,
you think it would,
But we
Oh, you
do,
don't know if
I
it'll
do wanna
even be a
put a
single
facade on the hood, that's for sure, if we can get something like that
on the
it.
exhaust,
On
Yeah.
the exhaust chimney, yes.
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
because I saw there was a bakery too, so there's possibility of being more than one of those elements.
That would be tied into with this,
Yeah,
didn't the guy say
correct,
he
yeah,
can?
he can
You
do
would,
that,
you'd be able
yes,
to,
yes.
fair enough.
Right, yes. I don't know whether it would have two flues, would it have two, or can we? Well,
I
at any
think if they're
rate,
separate
the
units,
location is,
okay.
This is what I need.
roughly the size.
This.
Uh,
Okay.
As far as what I think we're thinking of fiber cement for the body of the building. And I would like to see personally, this is gonna be, George knows what I'm gonna say. I don't wanna see AZAC on the building, period. However, maybe you want to say, oh no, we're gonna do AZAC, or we're gonna do Boral, or something,
I prefer Boral over AZAC, I mean, AZAC moves
We can
around a
do-
lot.
AZAC's really a dreadful material.
It's not as, I mean, it doesn't rot, it's got a lot of advantages, but it does move a lot, and you actually have to go through extra
In all
stuff.
honesty, it would definitely cost me less to do all wood, but the maintenance factor is there, and then the
Mhm.
rotting factor is there as well.
Well, the Boral, in my opinion, the Boral is,
Boral's a pretty good
Good.
product. It's made from the steel industry, leftover,
fly ash.
and and maintain the warranty, the only thing you have to do is paint it. Because it will rust.
Mhm.
It will never, yeah. it will
Won't
never-
rot, but.
It won't
yeah.
rot. It
I
doesn't rot,
hadn't heard
as long
about
as
the
you paint
rusting
it.
aspect of it, that's interesting.
Because it's from the steel industry,
Yeah.
And I was talking to,
We can stick to
Dan's putting
regular
it on-
wood.
On
I'm
his
putting it
garage.
on, I'm
okay,
putting it
so
on,
that's-
if you want to look at it, over Sedgwick, my garage. I'm putting a brand new garage over Sedgwick.
68,
And it's great, it's terrific stuff.
Yeah,
And it's paintable, it really looks nice.
Kramer said when he cuts it, he goes, ting, these things, it's as though it's
I'm
hitting
moving in
steel
there.
sometimes.
What's it called?
Boral. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Boral, that's how I've heard it pronounced.
Yeah.
But yeah, background wood is acceptable as well, I mean, if you wanna do that route. I'd be personally fine either way, I mean, that's, you know, we're just looking at the aesthetics
I
aspect
think
of it, you know, the
looks wise, the
material
wood would
aspects of
always
it.
look the best,
Mhm.
personally.
I
As
agree
long
with
But
that.
the maintenance
Paint.
is the,
I don't know,
What
take a look at
else?
my, take a look at that garage, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's.
It's a whole new product, it's fabulous.
Mhm.
Really, look at 68 Sedgwick, well,
let's
Go by it,
tentatively
take a look
put
at the
down
garage.
all wood materials
I
for
couldn't
now.
believe it, how nice it
Put
is.
all wood
It
down
holds
for
the
now.
paint.
Okay.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna, the wood, it's so nice, and I'm gonna paint it the same color of the product.
What color is it? What color is the
It's
gray,
a,
steel?
it's a gray, it's a gray,
Steel color?
Is
Yeah.
it gonna be painted?
it's an eggshell, you know, type of grayish blue. Take a look at it.
Okay.
Everybody loves it when they take a look at it. And you think it's wood.
I'd like to see the material.
Yeah.
And the last time we were here, we got a very good suggestion about maybe utilizing some of the area under the deck. So I've shown that in here, this would be kind of outdoor storage for, temporary storage for, let's say, garbage and garbage bags and recyclables, and then, you know, in the evening or whatever, they would go over to the common dumpster that's behind Steam Restaurant, that this one would use. I mean, that's part of the original agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I was
think-
also thinking of maybe putting a walk-in underneath there as well.
And we might do that, you know, because walk-ins can certainly go outside, so.
And I think Sean and Allison, you'll remember that huge dumpster there is for all the area buildings.
The one
And,
behind Steam,
Excuse me?
Correct.
the
Yeah,
one behind
correct.
Steam.
Yeah, right behind Steam, it's huge. And we have water there and electricity, and it's really nice, and it can handle all the original was, you know, a 18,000 square foot building. So now we're bringing it down to, you know, 2,900.
Yeah, under
So
2,000, I
the
believe.
facility is not a problem.
He's talking about the original approvals we got from ARB, what, 5 years ago?
No, 9 years ago.
You kidding?
No.
9 years ago.
Nine?
Wow.
It was 9 years
We were
ago.
here.
Sherry, 9 years,
Nine?
9 years ago. Can you imagine? We haven't done anything with it for 9 years.
Was it 9, Dave?
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was 9.
Good grief.
I think the, one last thing was I was asked by someone here who I don't think is here to work on to make all the overhangs the same, which I've done. So they've all gotten a little bit bigger, although the renderings don't 100% show that, but the idea is that they're all the same, the deeper overhang.
Okay.
I think that was Rita.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's,
Don't
And,
match the same color as earlier.
And the
Yes.
stone veneer is like a New England field stone.
and I think that as far as, George has a picture of the lamp that might go around the building, that would be sort of
correct.
Be used,
parking lights. We're not gonna do so many of the, the pole lamps, maybe none, but,
Not to show it.
so that would be the,
Opinion?
So that's where you've
That
drawn
would
them on the
discuss-
building?
they would be on the
Sconces.
building,
On the building, yeah.
yeah. Maybe modified slightly with some reflectors so it would go,
it's kind of
you know,
ornate.
down and not at the building so
I
much.
don't know, what is
And I think that was it. I think those were the main issues that were brought up.
We talked about the grass underneath, about eliminating the grass underneath, like that wouldn't be a sustainable, it wouldn't get light under there. I'm worried about it getting muddy.
this seems,
Some would, but that's the south side.
I'm trying
That's
to
gonna be
find a
fine.
sconce that matches
So that
the
is gonna stay
post
grass.
lights.
Talk about, you
Yeah,
mentioned.
right.
you
So
Yeah,
right there,
it's
I would-
very tough.
I would say that would be
The post
grass
lights on
because,
Are they
the parking
existing,
area.
or-
that's
Yes.
the south side of the
Those are
building. It's just
existing?
gonna be-
Correct.
They're the town, you know, that we put up,
Right.
the
Yeah,
the same
tall,
ones
the
in
tall
town.
ones
But we,
that are on the property.
underneath, a lot of the
Do you think they
deck
need
is
to
now
match?
that enclosed.
No, but I think it might flow better if I
Outside
do.
storage area.
They're very nice lights.
Yeah,
A
they
lot
are
of it
nice
is
lights.
this.
I like the
So
way
the only
this,
grass area
these are
that-
drawn,
But
Yeah.
even this is
simple
gonna
and
get
clean.
that. So this is
Mhm.
north,
You know how
Yeah.
much those lights
you
cost?
can't do this upside down, which way
Right,
is
I know.
east? South?
8,500, it's $9,000.
Am I doing the wrong
For the
way?
whole lights?
for the
The
town,
west is over here, so this is gonna get
Wow.
all afternoon sun and, you know. I'm not so
Wait till I
concerned
get to the
about
football
grass
field.
over here. I think it'll
Okay, so Isabel, okay.
happily grow.
Town lights, nice lights.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They seem to be very popular right now.
I know.
They look good on
what
some
part?
houses, I don't know.
What's this part of the building?
I
That's-
know.
For the
I know
black
second
windows,
floor,
sashes.
outside
Oh,
balcony.
Sean, going back to, do you think it's,
Balcony.
you like the same or different?
For
Well, on the
outside.
top,
What
I mean,
is what?
more often I see them
Because
on
we're
the
trying to
outside.
duplicate
Yeah,
basically
there
those
might be a
lights.
chair too.
Yeah,
the
Those
look.
are the ones that for the lights.
Sliding door, window. That's
Got it.
what that's supposed to be.
I,
I'm
I'm
not-
trying to,
not
I'm trying to
objectionable.
second guess someone like Marion who,
Oh, yeah, we're,
you know, requested the 2/2 because it was
Mhm.
more historically,
I did it,
keeping
right?
with what was there. And then I'm thinking, would she like the black sashes? I don't know.
I like the black sashes. Your question?
No, well, I just wonder if
I don't know if it's
she
historical,
wanted
but I
to
like the.
maintain, you know, the historic
But it's
character
not
of
historic.
the- What?
It's brand new.
Part, they're building to
Yeah,
attention
but
of historical.
She requested these 2/2 because,
I think it looks good in black too.
I do too, I do too, I like that look, I like the.
It's a nice look.
Well, the 2/2 windows are, match the rest of your properties windows, right? Like we discussed, like doing like a signature.
Yeah.
yeah, I
the
like
whole-
the 2/2s, yeah.
We're
Right.
just
But
just
discussing
the-
the
With the
black.
color.
Yeah,
We're
no,
talking
no,
about
yeah,
black.
yeah, I think that the black's kind of
I
fun.
see so much of it now.
I know, it's,
A little trendy, I think,
yeah, it
but,
is, it is, but I
Come
think
right
it's-
of this consulate.
But you want it
I
trendy,
think
I
they
suppose.
were, the ones that I just showed you, I think they were 16 inches.
How, did they give you the lumen, how bright they are?
No, I didn't get all the specs on them. But it had a reflector on the top so they shine down.
But
Did
we
you see
can
the
submit
lights?
all of
Did
that,
you-
Yeah,
you know, all the specifications and the lumen
Little ornate.
analysis and,
sorry, Dr. Voorhees,
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
fine.
talk over you. so.
no, I'm,
Paris Cafe, I thought it was Dolcetti's Cafe.
you should call it Let Them Eat Cake.
We can call it Dulce.
Well, let me tell you
Except the
something,
tab.
Phil and I were younger, we'd do it.
Uh,
It looks nice. It looks nice.
yeah, it's a nice building.
It's gonna be very nice, really is.
And what's
And
this,
there's
what's the
no
stone?
porch, you know, no one has a porch.
Like a
Fieldstone.
fieldstone.
And
I
the
know.
breeze on that
It's a
porch is
field-
Fieldstone
fantastic.
veneer for the
You
most
get up
part,
there on that
except
porch
on
and
the
it's just,
Heating
things
outside,
that are obviously
yeah.
you
not
don't need
veneered, but
air
the
conditioning.
the chimneys would be
It's
veneered.
beautiful.
We'll do a mock-up.
Mary and I,
We'll see a
that
sample
first
of that.
house, where we
The
lived
chimneys
there,
would be
you know,
veneered.
And we sit on the porch and the
Yeah,
breeze.
but, yeah, the retaining.
For some reason, I don't know what it is.
Just
And,
way-
and, yeah. I
Yeah, the
mean,
way it's
Circulates
situated.
I think
Oh,
probably
it's
most of it will be
great.
veneered,
Love
probably built out
porches.
of block.
Exactly, I love
And,
porches.
then, yeah, receive veneer.
Yeah, it'll be built out of block or poured concrete, correct. And
What's
then-
But that would be a mock-up you would have done, I mean, if that's something that we would like,
You
We
mean
would
for
be
you?
able to see a sample of the actual,
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
We bring in our mason, we bring in our stone, we bring in the concrete block, we do a little thing right here on the table for the camera.
well, you know, it's a major element, there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it, yes.
So, another important question, what kind of food?
The
I don't care
edible
about,
kind.
yeah. What's,
The new purview of ARB.
yeah,
Mhm.
we wanna
Um,
check the food out too.
I wanna try and keep it very simple, not too crazy fancy, just, you know, the bare stuff, chicken, hamburgers, some pancakes, some waffles, some eggs, maybe a little personal pizza. Just,
Are you open for dinner?
I'm sorry?
Will you be open for
Same
dinner?
menu.
Okay, great.
And the bakery.
the sign.
Oh, yeah, and the bakery. Well, the bakery will be open
Yeah, yeah,
mornings,
like a hearty,
but
hearty.
yes.
Tell them about the bakery and who's
Oh,
coming
the
over.
oral is for the.
Yes.
Yeah, listen to this about the bakery.
So my aunt had a bakery in
Yeah.
Athens for
Got it.
about
Oh, I realize
32
that. Okay.
years before she sold it
So
about
these windows still
7 or
look
8 years
black.
ago. And she's been bored, so
Probably not.
she really gave me the idea to do
Are these
something.
clad,
And
as
I'm
like
really
a
excited for
clad
it.
window?
Good.
Yeah, this is why Phil and I, you know, we look for,
Yes, I think.
we
that
don't like
these would-
startups.
Right.
might be nicer
Because-
if they were better
and
than integrity, but.
They
there's
have all the
something like
recipes,
Marvin
they know what's
Integrity.
going on,
Oh,
Which is,
sure.
and the baking's gonna be
fiber-
amazing.
Fiberglass
Yes.
window.
Makes a big
And
difference.
you're not gonna,
Yeah.
You know, it's not a startup type of operation.
So,
where they're-
unless you buy
what
the
would-
you know,
whole-
they're
what
experimenting
would you
with
like
the
to-
different recipes.
I don't know, I'm
They've
just,
been in the business for
I'm
30-something
just
years.
asking
Yeah.
whether that was on purpose or whether
That's
that
great.
was,
Which is
kind
nice.
of became to be, I mean, you know, I'm not saying I like it or don't like it, but normally you'd see the trim, you'd see the windowsill trim the same as the surround.
That's
And they'll be
good, but in
baking
a
on
sense, we
site.
don't have
Yeah.
trim at the sill.
Yeah.
You know, the sill is the sill, so
Down
It
on the
is-
first floor.
we, you know.
Oh, here,
So,
you're
yeah,
going
you
this
can
way.
see
You're
It's
going-
really not a
Yes,
basement,
yeah,
you walk right in.
it's a
Right,
walk-
you walk in.
That would
Yeah.
be just a
Yes.
little
We
tiny
do
house
the-
though.
Here.
the
Yeah,
sill.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
in there.
just for bread.
Yeah.
Trim color, then it's gonna also look odd because the way the muntin comes down and all the sash, the way it's gonna hit that, it's gonna be black hitting white.
So you don't have any windowsill then, you have three
Not
sides
really.
of trim and
Yeah,
then,
There's just not an
ends-
apron under this.
just ends at the sill.
Yeah.
We don't have any, what is it called, stool, sill?
Apron on the outside,
Apron.
stool on the inside.
Apron below the,
you don't have a detailed your window yet, do you?
It's an Anderson A series.
no,
window.
we don't do Andersons, no.
You don't like Anderson.
I hate
You don't
Anderson.
like Anderson.
Hate Anderson.
Are you in favor of
Say like a
Marvin's?
Marvin Integrity or
Dave, what were you asking about where it just comes down?
I was just asking about, right now, we're looking at like a black sill
Sill.
Mhm.
to the windows.
Right.
And, you know, in most cases, you'd see, you know, the same color as the trim around the window,
Yeah.
and not,
Right.
not saying, I think it actually looks kind of interesting, I don't know whether that's good or bad, but now we get into whether there's actually anything there or not, because if you're not putting something there, you're gonna install the Anderson window, and you're gonna put trim around three sides of it, and then you're gonna have like the sill of the sash and the window itself, but
Right.
I feel like you're gonna need,
Talking out more.
you know, sometimes you have
I was looking
No,
at
it's a
it.
good question, we can,
the width of the same trim, or you put one
The
on edge, which is kind of more
Right.
the farmhouse style, which I think is kind of what you're going for.
These double homes? Double homes.
Correct.
So, I would look at, again,
yeah, we could look at,
if there's,
yeah.
you know, look at the
Modify that.
actual details, see whether, you know, you're actually gonna have a sill or, you know, an actual sill piece, so you're gonna install after you put the window in.
Mhm.
Or just before, you know, how you do it, but,
No, I think it's a very valid point, you know, we can
and then
do
you
a
want it,
couple of variations and
It's,
send it in, you know, over to you.
you know, right now, the way this reads visually is you have kind of a black sill.
Right.
But then the question came up, whether you actually have a sill or not,
This
and you
is
probably
like
do,
those
and
things
then, is it black or is
different
it the off-white,
trims.
the
Oh,
same
I see.
as the trim around the window?
Well, typically, so just,
that's a good question.
I just pulled up the Marvin Integrity line. So the sill and the casing are, well, they're accessories that are added to the unit itself. So if you were to get those separately, you could match the colors on those. I would actually think that would be the approach to take personally. And it's one of those things to kind of like go around and look at. There's been quite a few houses done lately that I've been noticing use the black sashes. But to my recollection, the sills and the casings are usually white, you know.
The
or
sill
matched.
is the same color as the
Yeah,
trim.
I mean, that's just
Mhm.
kind of off the top of my head what I remember seeing. And just judging from the product literature, that's how you would most likely develop the order on it.
Well, I can
But
say
I think
that,
it's just something
you know, I
to
can
do,
modify
an
that.
observation
Yeah.
of what's going
No,
on.
it's an important
It's good.
observation.
I see what you're
I
saying.
think today,
And then was this done on purpose to leave this white as opposed to doing the same
No,
stone that you're doing?
It's stucco concrete. That would be stucco.
So this is
It's
just white
concrete.
stucco.
It's actually kind of sort of grayish silver stucco, just natural.
I mean, would you
Just a
consider
natural
doing,
concrete color,
Correct,
but not painted.
correct.
would you consider
But with the stucco
doing the
finish,
same
yeah.
type of
Yeah.
stone? Just because, you know, this is such a heavy element, it might balance it out better. Because right now, this side of the building, it's, you know, I don't wanna call it plain, but I mean, it's a very.
It will
type
be
of texture.
covered all with bushes, and all the landscape is
Okay.
gonna cover that, the majority of it you can see on the main plan.
So that's where that elevation.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not in the
That'll make a
renderings, so
difference. Yeah.
it gobbles up a lot of, I don't know, memories,
Memory, yeah.
whatever, to stick in plants, so, yeah.
That'll soften it.
And the roof material is asphalt
Asphalt,
shingle,
yes.
Like an architectural.
Which color?
Architectural, yes. Charcoal,
charcoal.
Sort of the color we have,
yes.
architectural shingle.
Mhm.
So you're saying, oh, I mean, I'm just going back to the sconces, so all these kind of more generic looking sconces on these renderings, those would be those more ornate sconces that you have currently shown. I'm just wondering if that wouldn't, you know, would those be, since they are kind of these more embellished sconces, if they would be more appropriate just at like the main entrance and like.
We can keep a simple lantern sconce, how it's shown in the drawing, and
Yeah, but use like the fancier ones or something that's a little bit more,
At
has,
the
you know,
entrances.
a little bit more punch, yeah, at the entrance. So put your money where it
And then a
counts.
little more utility,
Yeah,
utilitarian.
Yeah,
one.
but still kind of the same style,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely a simplified version.
Simpler lantern,
Yeah, because otherwise I think they are too fancy for
that many of them.
a side and that many.
Yeah, I agree.
I see what they're trying to do.
Yeah. It's the town that did it, that's how they made them do it.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem with these not matching. I mean, I get
No,
what you're
neither
trying to
do
do
I,
with
yeah.
those, but
oh, then I would love to pick another design, I just figure it would be more of the flow, cause it's so close to all the other lights, cause the other island
Right
is here
now,
with
yeah,
the,
I
with
understand.
2 or 3 of those lights, I believe.
But for the style of the building,
I think they need to be cleaner, simpler.
Hmm,
yeah,
yeah.
What do you think, Dan Dolce? Are you attached to those? Why did you guys pick the,
Yeah, it's like
We
Or
can
George's.
change
the
I
lights.
picked them, yeah.
okay.
You take those?
Yeah, we could change.
To match
it.
the
I would love to go with something, you know, cleaner looking,
yeah.
cause the whole building in general is very clean.
Yeah. And these make a statement of their own and all of these, but
Mhm.
I think these can just be,
And maybe just the main entrance have 2 sconces that are
Yeah, a little
more
nicer.
exquisite.
Yeah.
Or not.
no, I don't.
I wouldn't say fancy, but I would say
It's
they could be
maybe
a little
larger,
larger. Little larger.
make more of a statement. but
Yeah,
I don't think that's
no, the same
fancy.
style, that would be consistent with the style, but
Right.
yeah, like slightly larger.
I love those like glass, rectangular with like the
Mhm.
3 candles
Yeah.
in there.
That's what my wife originally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. those are
Your
pretty.
wife said that one, yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty.
The rectangular ones.
Those
You
would
want
be nice,
gas
too.
powered too?
I did want gas power, but no.
Gas?
Yes, please.
No,
Gas?
please.
Then you
No.
throw much-
You're happy, you got the gas there, so it's, you're
No.
They burn
No,
down
no, we're
buildings.
not
No.
doing that.
not gonna do that?
No.
You don't want a penny?
Imagine you have to have like 50% LED fixtures, right? As far as current codes,
We're trying to do
You have to have
all.
what?
that'd be
We're
great.
trying to do
More-
all,
more-
but it's hard to find the design you want in LED.
They're becoming
Yeah, they are, they're
more
definitely
dialed in, and you
much.
can actually dial in the color, and you can dim them down to like restaurant levels now that, previously you could only dim them down to like 10%.
I know the interior's 100% LED.
Cool.
The exterior is what we're having trouble with.
No, you can get exterior lamps with LED, but yeah, you gotta look for them a little bit more,
Mhm.
they're not as readily, obvious, but they're there.
What's the underside of your eaves material? Is it the same as your fascia?
They would be the same, correct? Flat.
There's gonna be porch furniture. Do we have any jurisdiction over that?
Not a public
I think
way.
if it's
We
fixed in
have.
some
We
way.
have.
We have.
You do?
We usually do, yes,
Yeah?
actually. Right, Sean?
Not,
So we should, you coming back for the signs? Are you coming back for the signs? Signs on the building?
Yes.
In theory, this was the sign application that we have. You submitted for a sign application. So we have two signs on the building, both are undersized for what we're allowed to have. I mean, I don't know.
So
if
it's
they-
2 words, it's the name and the cafe is the second
Correct.
word. So you just don't know what the first word is yet.
Correct,
And then it's gonna be in this type
correct.
of font?
It'll be the same black as the windows, same font, and the taupe of the wall.
The white or the
The
taupe?
taupe.
Well,
the
I've
taupe.
done, yeah, but
You may not, it may not pop enough.
they're two different
Well, that's why I'm
colors.
using a
'cause
black background
oh, you're using a black background design?
for the sign, correct.
Oh.
So that would mean the sign that I have on the south side is incorrect.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking. That was a white sign with black.
That was,
It's right
yeah,
here.
white letters and.
No, you got it on the
show
first page.
Yeah,
black
first
background.
page and the last page says it's
So you
black
got
The
on
one
white
that's
on black.
in the
My
bottom
eye
of there,
is this one
and
is
then you got
different
this other one here.
than.
And then the one,
This
it's
one.
just
Oh,
no
last
sign,
page.
no signboard,
White.
and no signboard in
This
the
is white and black.
side.
The,
That's just the letters, pin letters in the triangle.
correct, correct.
And you're reversing the colors, put black on taupe, which was all
We're
good.
putting it on the building, yes, in the,
Pin letters.
yes.
So how many sign, two?
I think we
There's
have three.
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 There's the-
This-
No,
One in the
I
front,
only have
one-
two signs on.
No, this is still the front.
I see that.
Yeah, okay, so front
On
and,
the side.
But
On
Dave,
the side.
technically, wouldn't we be allowed to do 4 signs on this building?
There's 4 sides to the
I
building,
don't
4
think so, I
streets.
think you've only got
You can see it,
one
well, 3
street
sides, you
frontage.
can see it.
Squab Lane.
So it's related to street,
Mhm.
so we got,
Cause we have 3 sides of
Three.
asphalt, yeah.
Squab Lane side is the one we don't wanna do it on, because that's sort of the back door.
I think she
Right,
got it
there's 2
back there.
walls that are kind of Squab Lane frontage. The entrance wall, which is facing the actual main parking lot of the train station. And the other Squab Lane is the northwest facade of the building.
Yeah, we don't wanna do the northwest, cause that's the back, you know.
Yeah, that's
That's
our
the
back.
back of the building.
The one that faces south seems to me to certainly be, I mean, there's a road that goes right across the front there, heavily traveled, actually.
That's this side right here, right? And where you put the pin letters in the,
Yeah, here, yeah, that sign facing the back of Brooks Brothers.
that's this one.
Correct.
Yeah, we're proposing 2 signs.
Do you have the exact dimensions of the board sign in the back?
It's really undersized at the moment. The one that, when you say the back, the one that faces south,
Yeah, on the black board, the board sign. There's one board sign, there's one pin letter sign.
it's on the application. And it's, it is correct. The letters are 10 inches high, and the actual, the back of the sign
Yeah,
is.
just describe. I actually didn't really look at that. 1, 2, 4, 15 square feet, okay. So you're allowed 14 square feet on the front and 18 square feet on the south.
which is the front? Is that the one with the pin letters in it?
Well, the front of the entrance is the one with the patio,
This
the
is,
northwest side.
this is the
This
front
one,
entrance.
correct.
And this, yeah, and this goes into the bakery down here.
Correct.
And-
So there's 2 signs proposed here, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Applied for.
got it.
So where does one go if you're going to the bakery?
Through the front, through where the parking is in the front, where I can't even call it the front, I'm not sure if
You come
you
in
can
through
see the
here.
front, correct,
Underneath,
straight into,
it's-
underneath, correct. And that would be just bakery, just bread, I should say.
So are
Everything
you
else
gonna
that
put
comes
sign-
out of the
Are you gonna
bakery.
put signage on the glass windows, the glass, doors?
Right now, there's no signage that points to the bakery.
Correct, there isn't.
And you have a sconce light right in the center, so
I don't think we're allowed to do that, right, Dave? We can't write a sign that says bakery on the outside of at the bakery?
Well, you have one daughter named Paris and the other one named
Cafe.
Chloe.
Chloe, so it's the Chloe's Bakery and the Paris Cafe. Just named,
You could put something on the window, a bakery.
On the inside,
Yeah, inside the window.
inside,
on the glass of the door.
inside of the door,
It'd say
inside,
bakery.
I think you need to do that.
on the inside.
No, I think you need to put something that indicates bakery.
Mhm.
It says here that the signs will be illuminated by small LED goosenecks. I'm just,
Like gooseneck?
yeah. So
I
like
haven't
mounted on that,
indicated them.
yeah, I'm sorry?
I have not put them on the drawing.
Right, yeah, I'm just wondering
Oh, you're
where,
putting it on the post?
yeah, that seems like the only place it could really.
Yeah, with
go, right?
difficulty, but it'll be so elegant and so well screwed in that you'll be admiring.
What
Okay,
about
so-
like one foot on each side and they face
Okay,
it
so for the dimensions of the
and
signboard,
washes it?
the dimensions of the black signboard, is
Yes,
it gonna be,
I think that would be
Right over there,
good, yes.
inside.
It's on this
He's
application, I
suggesting that
think.
would go
so-
there
And then,
No, no,
on
that
the
would-
side, yeah, and,
Oh,
and not on
that's a good idea.
so is the black signboard on the parking lot side above this side here? Is the black signboard taller than the floor of the patio?
the black
It
signboard.
And
looks
how,
like
and how's it gonna be mounted?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so if I'm shoveling snow off of it, am I gonna chip the top of that signboard with the shovel as I push it out underneath the railing? Or is the signboard gonna be below the floor?
Depends how much you like the person underneath.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a question
Mhm.
for practicality and not sign dimension zoning.
I would say push the snow to the left or the right, not down the middle.
We really can't have two on top signs on two sides.
It might
Yeah,
be
you'd have-
provision
you'd
in
have
the
to
new
push it-
regulations
you'd have to
for
push it on both
facing the
sides.
common parking lot.
Which is the one in the, is this considered the common parking lot or is the one on
The
the
common
front?
parking lot for this property,
This
the Fish
is.
Brothers and the.
I'm
This
worried
is
about
bank.
people
So this,
knowing there's a bakery there.
Oh, they'll know.
There'll be aroma piped in.
Yeah.
Aroma, word of mouth, everything.
Okay.
It's heavily trafficked.
It
No,
is
I know.
very-
Yeah.
it's
The
amazing.
one
That
on
area
this
is
side here.
unbelievable.
It's the only,
the pin letters
right-hand
on in
turn
the
to
triangle.
go
yeah,
north.
That's
right.
the main entrance.
Or you have to go all the way to Leroy and around,
Yeah,
so
uh-huh.
90% of the
Do we,
people
do,
just
Yeah, they-
come
they
through.
come
It's
through.
amazing. The,
For the
Well, they'll
restaurant.
see the cafe sign, but
for the
I just
bake-
wanna make sure they know that the bakery's
well,
there.
if this was
That's a good
Paris
point,
Cafe,
especially with
this
the
is
cars
Paris
there.
Cafe and the bakery and the glass doors down below, do we have an issue?
No, no, that should be fine.
But you can't have any
People
sort of
get down
sign
those doors
Where would you
thinking
down
about
here
going
with
into the
bakery
restaurant.
to indicate that there's a bakery. You can't do a
This is,
blade sign or,
On the
Let's
door.
get to the restaurant.
well, you can do it on the
glass,
door.
in the glass you can do it.
Inside
But
the
Sherry,
glass,
that's not
I
the
would
name of
be
the
okay with.
business, so we'd be doing,
once one.
You could-
But I'm just
person
worried that
finds out-
nobody will know the bakery's there.
I mean, this is not gonna be.
Well,
Yeah,
you
that
wouldn't be
was
able to put a
so we
sign
make
below
an
the, below
exception.
the railing, Dave?
This will be
I
common.
mean, I know it's not the name of it, but I
Yeah.
just, it's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
On a pole here? You have a pole?
You're right, it's not the name.
I think they're no,
It might be
that
better
would, that
to
would raise
have
more
a-
issue.
plastic.
People be, why do they get a,
What about a
That's
plastic
true.
flamingo?
What was your comment?
well, you can't really technically do a sign that says bakery, its own independent sign, because it's not a
Oh, no,
business.
no, he has two daughters.
Wait, I missed the joke.
It's the Paris
Well, the first
Cafe
was-
and the Chloe
Chloe's
Got
Bakery.
it.
Bakery.
Got it.
Well, if the bakery
Yeah,
was
he
a
said we
separate
could put it on
business,
the door.
would you be allowed
Put it on
to
the
set
inside of the door.
a different sign?
I
Yeah,
think Sean, you put it on the
Yeah.
inside of the door.
I'm fine with on the inside of the door.
Inside
I
of the
know
door is
the
fine.
quality of the bread is gonna bring the customers, not the sign.
okay.
People know where it is, just like that other, behind.
And-
If it's good,
we'll
people will come.
obviously
That's what I told them.
Advertise the bakery
If it's
downstairs inside the cafe.
If it's not good, forget it.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Doesn't matter where you are, if it's good.
That's right.
Yeah.
People always say to me, I want the post road. I said, it's irrelevant,
Mm.
wherever it is.
And what's the building address, by the way?
Oh, there she
Club.
goes. There she goes. Okay, where are you putting the number?
Yeah, well, what number is it? Yeah, well, we know
It's
what
the
number.
only house on Squaw Plain.
You have to have a number on the building.
Well, yeah,
You could mount
Which,
a
which
little
side is Squaw?
pin
This side?
number on,
Not
like,
this
the
side,
brick
but
or
the one
something
around the
right
corner,
there.
right?
we could do
Very
that.
small.
This is Squab over
You
here.
know,
If
like,
you look at the site plan though,
We could put it on the backside of the building.
Shouldn't it be on one of
That's
those
facing
posts
Squab Lane.
right there?
Yeah, like in the door.
This is Squab
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
so.
Squab Lane is
Yeah,
there.
I'm more than
That'd
happy
be
putting a
nice.
number
That's a
over here
good idea.
So
somewhere.
this is the entrance.
Right
this
next
is
to this
Squab Lane.
Yeah,
service.
you
You
need
got a
a
good
number
number.
two someplace.
So this is all
You gotta, you're
signed
gonna have a nice,
right
you
here,
know,
so
oh,
this is the
one
number.
thousand three hundred and twenty, it's just a
And no
nice
one can
two.
find the building.
I know.
So why can't we put them two in the eave? I mean, in the header over the door? What is it, Dan, is it really two Squab Lane?
Who's Squaw Plain?
Can we have a two underneath this Paris Cafe right on this side here,
Yeah, that's what we're thinking about.
in black?
Over on the,
What about the service entrance though? Is that not a good idea?
what?
Well, no, because the service entrance is,
Well,
You can have it on
A lot of your
both.
deliveries,
they're
they'll
gonna
be
have deliveries
confused.
there?
Yeah.
That's true too, you have to have a delivery side. So the delivery
And
people,
that's the one most facing the Squab. Or maybe not, I don't know.
yeah, on both sides.
Yeah, it's
Can you
not
put
like
it on
it's
the-
gonna be a huge
Is it effective
sign.
to put it on a
Yeah.
post?
Put a
No.
little too.
People have a tough time
if you
finding
put
it.
it in the center, I think we
Yeah.
put it in the
Right,
center
right.
underneath here, and then they sit on the
Right
service
here.
side, which is on the other side, which is back here.
Correct.
The one thing I would
If it's
really,
back here,
really like
there's no
to see
place really
is
to
a
put the
sample
number.
of
Right
the
on the
stone.
wall,
The sample of the what?
opposite the sconce.
I'd like to have both of them.
And then what is the
George, you
ground
would-
paving?
I'm sorry?
Should you like to see a sample
This?
of the stone?
Yeah,
Oh,
so you
the
put the
stone.
two in
Flagstone
just in
Yeah.
the
Yes, they are
Flagstone.
tote
flagstone.
color up top
They're
here, here
flagstone,
too, the
yes.
same size number
Stone or
two
whatever
over
you-
here.
Well, Flagstone's
Put it
different than
here?
this.
I put it
on
right,
this-
exactly where I put
Okay.
it, right underneath.
Right
Uh,
under here,
Is
on
it
this.
solid?
On the solid, right above the column.
That'd be
Or-
solid
Want me to
2-inch
draw it on
stripe,
mine?
yes,
No,
flagstone.
I got it. I was, yeah.
Well, solid would be 6
Perfect.
inch, so 2 inches.
I mean, it's
Try
not
it.
like
Yeah.
it's 2 digits, it's only
Or
1
solid
digit.
stripe.
All right.
And the rest of this paving?
I think we're doing the whole panel in flagstone, correct? Is that what I said?
Flagstone typically.
Yes, yes, flagstone, correct.
Flagstone?
Okay.
Well, I kinda would like to see this stone, a sample. Sample of this.
There's an existing
Yeah, I
stone
agree, it'd be
retaining
nice.
wall, is there?
It would be
We
nice.
could just bring it in next.
It is such, yeah,
You know,
We'll
just-
see
we
you.
could just bring it
Pretty
in,
done.
we don't have to have another meeting, we could just
yeah,
bring it
you
in.
That's
give it
Let us see it.
to Dave, and he'll let us
Yeah,
know
give
it's,
it to
it's
Dave,
here in the
Dave can show it to
offices.
you.
I
Yeah.
can go to the yard and
That's
just take
one
a
of your
picture
meetings.
with my
Yeah,
phone.
okay.
or if it's there, you could, if you do a sample on site, you could say, Dave could email us, we
That's
can come by
typically
the
what
site.
we've done.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at it.
when a sample is done
Make
on
it
the
easier on
site,
you.
Yeah,
inform the
Put a
ARB,
two here.
and we'll come out and take it.
And then can we put a 2 on the,
But I guess the question.
So we can do it, that
Yeah,
that
to
might be the
Allison's
best
point,
way.
is
I
there's
think.
this existing
Once
stone
we
retaining
build the
wall.
shell,
no, but it's.
or I mean,
The shell.
Would support a nice big
support,
come out and
we'll-
take a look at it.
we'll put a sample
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I
the
mean,
wall.
it's to your best interest too.
I think
Do a
that's even
mock-up.
better to take a
Mock-ups
look at it. When
We
it's,
can do that.
Answer a lot
The
of.
service
yeah.
door?
Yeah.
because a lot of
That's-
times
that's
you
the
think
same
it's
thing you were working
fine
Right,
when you
so
see
put the
it.
2 here,
Oh,
and put
it's
the 2
also
here.
how it's applied. I mean,
How it's
big,
applied,
big.
absolutely.
And there's a
Yeah,
lot
I
So I think that's a
of
good idea,
controversy.
George.
Digits,
Once
two different
you
locations.
come on out, we take a look at it.
There's apparently
Well,
something
what
in
recourse
Queen
you
and
have
Abbott
if
is
it-
raising all
You
kinds.
can put a 2 on the outside.
Every day.
Put down here.
It's
We have a hanging sign.
It's just stiff
Not
concrete.
pleasing,
Cafe.
That one?
and you
Yeah.
already
Oh,
heard the whole thing.
People are going crazy.
Is there
They haven't
recourse to
seen it,
send it
but
back?
still, it's
Oh, no,
obviously
we wouldn't
it's
buy
stiff
it.
concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna?
Okay, you just put the sample up.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
say we wouldn't buy it, we
Correct.
have to sample up and say, yeah, and then we go and buy the
Carpet.
material.
Yeah, good.
So could you have the blade set on the
Yeah.
column here and,
Yeah,
and that,
let's do 90
Up top.
minutes.
Okay, guys, so I'm gonna kind of wrap up what the stuff we talked about, beyond just, you know, seeing a sample come time. We talked about, the trim being in a pure white versus an off-white. We talked about the sills also matching that trim color instead of being black.
happy with it in the glass below too, so.
There's one other thing we talked
The
about.
light fixtures.
Light fixtures, a clean, we talked about a clean, maybe a cleaner light fixture to kind of match the style of the building, and the 2 sconces on the front of the building will be the same style, but a larger
Mm-hmm.
sconce. And ideally, if we could find them in LED, but you guys are, I think, already looking for that.
Number over the,
We talked about the composite instead of wood.
Right,
Well,
yeah,
we're
to be
going
determined,
wood,
but it's gonna be
We're
a
gonna go wood?
wood.
You're gonna go wood?
Okay, painted in the taupe, a bit more taupe, right? Yep, adding the address somewhere, and,
Oh, the two digits, I think we looked at one over the
Okay,
main entrance and one over the service entrance.
Yeah.
okay.
Over the entrance or to the left of it is okay?
Not the
No, I would put it
Well,
right,
for the
put it
delivery.
right in the center.
You don't want anything like this.
Right there.
Well, for this one, yes.
And then the
For
service-
that one there, right.
entrance.
And then the service one, put the two right over the top of the door.
Yeah.
Or, I don't particularly care what this one, maybe you put it on the opposite side of the sconce light. But this is your
Right here?
suggestion here.
Yeah, my suggestion was the upside of the sconce, then over the door.
Maybe on the door.
Or I can put a little
Yeah,
white
see that.
backdrop and put the two on top of it so it matches the opposite end of the sconce.
Or put it in the door, in the glass door.
Or we can do that, that's even better idea.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, that's
Yeah.
even
Well,
better.
this is your
That-
this is your service side, so this is really geared to this. This is your public
Yeah,
address.
this one I'm okay with putting it there.
I think that's a good idea, putting it on the door.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sean,
I'll
show
put
me
the
where?
service
Put
one
on the door.
Where's,
That's a
where's
good
the
idea.
public one?
That's number 2 for you. You're 2
It's
for.
in the apron, number 2 for tonight. And that's it, huh?
Sean's 2 for.
No, Chantal was in the meeting.
Sean, I didn't
No
know
more,
where to
Sean,
go.
just 2 for.
I'm missing, I get my numbers.
Right here.
Oh,
Two
above,
in there.
okay, got it, okay. Okay, that sounds good. I mean, this
Good.
looks great, guys, good job. Dan.
Fabulous.
When,
Okay.
So,
when do you start construction?
I'm hoping September.
We still
I'm
have,
kind of away from April to end of August, so.
we still have a problem with employee parking, so we have to go through that one.
So Liz, do we need to come back in a meeting, or can we take care of this administratively?
Oh, administratively, no, this is great, this is, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you'll get a favorable report. I'll document those changes in my letter, just so that, you know, they're on record.
Great.
And then the only thing we'll follow up on is like seeing, like, at some point, as you guys start construction,
The
let us
only thing
come by
else,
and
Sandy,
see some
is
stuff.
we'll wait for the block and take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good
It'd be
idea.
nice to see the colors too, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe, like, you might, yeah, I don't know, if you,
I
as you
could
play with
bring
the,
some clapboard and just bring it in painted and drop it off.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you ever do that,
That's a good
Dave
idea.
Keating, he can do it all, and
Drop
he'll
it
email
off
us, we'll
so-
come in on
so
our
they can see
time.
it.
Yeah.
Do you have the word bakery and the glass down low, lower the doors?
No, yeah, I actually did add that in here, you have,
It's in the
bakery put
glass.
inside the, yeah. Okay.
Good.
Near lower level, okay. Great, guys.
Thank you very much, very good.
Very exciting.
good?
Yes, thank you. And, I don't know what you want for the file, but feel free to take, you know, the newer plan, because the older ones that I submitted are, you know, we've made quite a few changes on this newer plan,
Okay.
so. And the same with the renderings, and it's part of the file.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks.
Have a wonderful evening. What's left of it.
So are you guys architects?
Yeah,
You're an architect?
up
What's
in
your
New
name?
Canaan,
What's your name?
Dave Hines. I work with Rob Dean up in New Canaan.
Oh, don't tell him about me.
First thing I'll do tomorrow morning. That's what I saw last night, Rob.
Oh, yeah, that, he said, oh, yeah, that. Just, you know,
I like getting a rise out of Rob, so, okay.
yeah,
It's easy.
love's favorite loss.
Okay, guys, just keep going, since
Thank
it's
you, guys.
getting late here. The last menu item,
Good job.
Do you want me to dispose of these, or just?
Sure, okay, yeah, Tucker, I'll take those. Sure, I'll take one, dispose of that one.
Dave, you have what you need?
I'm good.
You want a set of
I
these?
just want one set of the pictures and one set of the drawings. For the file.
Here, this goes.
We talked to the boys.
That
we
goes
sat
with that.
down, we
That's
should-
right. This is- Yeah, that, one for Dave.
Think outside the box.
No, thank you. Really, no,
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You want them rolled or folded?
Folded.
Okay, guys, continue with the meeting, it's late here. Last meeting, the last item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Does everyone approve?
Bro.
Yes.
Approved? Okay, that's it, then I'm gonna close the meeting, it's 9:58 PM. Oh, you know what, before I do that, sorry, before I go, on record, you guys want to all welcome Kate, our newest member.
Thank you.
Kate, do you wanna just tell the guys your background so they kind of know?
So I've worked for a number of years in architecture. I'm a registered architect in New York, and I worked for Robert Stern Architects in New York and Elvis Manfredi Architects in Boston on commercial and institutional work. And 5 years ago, I switched to a company, CIM Group, doing commercial real estate development, ground up and repositioning. So a lot of design and construction oversight. My projects are in New York and in Boston, so sort of the same markets. But yeah, it's good to be here.
That's
And I just
great.
moved to Darien a year and a half ago, so I'm relatively new to the town and learning about it. And I live on Edgerton Street up from Roden Heights, and love it so far. It's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank
The
you.
Roden Heights is gonna be changing a bit.
So I hear. I need to.
we don't
I've
know
never
if
been
it's
retail
something
funds. I know.
If it ever happens.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm sort of pro.
Well, Federal Realty
more
seems
going on
like
there.
it.
Yeah.
Well, let me officially close the meeting, that's 9 p.m.